Hey, y'all, it's Ben, and it has been a while. It's just me today. I'm just gonna suppress. I'm turning Andrew's mic off. No,
You're suppressing your other personalities. It's just been two of you all
wait,
along.
it's been me talking to myself. That makes sense, actually.
Yeah, that
Okay.
actually would be that'd be a
Um,
good podcast.
but
You should start
anyhow,
that.
we I should. No, that's already a thing. That's James Arnold Taylor has been handling that very
Yeah.
well, talking to himself. Shout out. But we're going to be talking today about something that just came out for us. The newest DC, I guess current regime universe that they're going forward with James Gunn. We've got the Superman leading it off. Well, not really leading it off. I mean, I think Creature Commandos is technically the first thing they did. But yeah, Superman
I
is
mean,
out in
it's
theaters.
leading off, I would say.
This is their flagship, live
Yeah.
action. Um, yeah, it's kind of the definitely.
Creature Commandos was fun and all that, but definitely they're putting all their
Yeah,
eggs
there's
in this
ties,
basket.
but it's maybe like an appetizer for this entree.
Right.
That was the Man in Blue, flying, leaping, jumping, running faster than bullets, and jumping over small children and whatever, blowing dogs. I don't know.
Throwing babies.
I
Oh
don't
wait.
know. Anyway, so uh, the what do we want to do? First thoughts, or like what we were expecting going in, or anything, or we just want to talk about the film a little bit and then.
Yeah, I mean, we could do like what do you like think about it first off before we delve into it, and
Okay.
because I feel like that kind of the in-depth analysis, especially as we go, sometimes you start to think about stuff a little bit more and you form different opinions. So it'd be kind of cool to get like an upfront and then at the end be like, oh yeah, I guess I did think this or that.
Yeah.
And I realize now that I was talking a little quietly there, so I am fixing that. Sorry about that.
Little metagaming there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the film, I wasn't going in with a lot of expectations. I usually try to go in pretty blank and just take what the creators are wanting us to take out of it at face value generally. We we didn't. I mean, we had some stuff that we saw ahead of time, and they kind of just led with some of that at the beginning. So that was good. That was We weren't too spoiled or anything because I did see some stuff going in, but I think personally, yeah, overall it was a fun ride. It was kind of a little amusement park ride. Um, I think it was enjoyable. There were good. There were some good choices. I wasn't. I wasn't like overly impressed as like a film or anything. Of course, but it was solid for what it was trying to do. I think it made choices, of course, that are some people will like or dislike. They kind of brought in a whole bunch of parts from different properties and different versions of Superman and comics and media that they Frankenstein together, of course, for this, just like they always do. But that's okay. That's the prerogative of the writer and creators and producers and stuff. But I think for me, my first impression was pretty good. I was mostly happy with it coming out of it. Um, what do you think on your first?
Yeah. I mean, I pretty right there with you. I didn't have a lot of stuff spoiled for me, or spoiled, whatever word you want to use. It was. I stayed pretty much away from all the new stuff. I saw a couple of the teasers multiple times, just being on social media and stuff like that, and we'll talk about that a little bit later with Crypto and a couple of those scenes. But for the most part, I would say that yeah, I didn't really go into it with a lot of foreknowledge. I didn't really know what the plot was. I didn't look into it all too much. I did see it, 2 or 3 days after it came out. So there was a couple people that I saw post about it with like spoiler-free reviews, just to kind of see some people that I follow and like, buddies of mine that had seen it. And so I had a little bit in, like I said, the spoiler-free, like, oh, this is what I thought about it, without giving anything away. But aside from that, I kind of tried to not see anything because I wanted it to be like a fresh viewing, because I was genuinely excited for this movie. Like, I was really hoping that it would be good. I wasn't expecting it to be good, but I was hopeful. I haven't, I think I said it before we sat down to watch a movie. I was like, I haven't looked forward to going to the movie theaters to watch a movie in what feels like a really long time, especially in comparison to how we used to go. I feel like we used to go to the movies like once a month or maybe even more. And I don't think I've been to the movies this year. Have we been to the movies?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think this is probably the second thing I've seen this year, but yeah, I haven't been to where we went for sure this year at all.
The second.
So.
But yeah, it's pretty wild to think about. But yeah, I was.
Yeah, it slowed down quite a bit.
Well, I mean, the industry slowed down a little bit too, especially, writer strike and all that kind of put a damper on things back a few years ago.
Yeah, that's still affecting stuff like to this day.
Oh yeah.
Like we're still in some of that for sure. There's several projects, and I still hear about new ones too, where they're like, yeah, this is finally happening again, and there's a bunch that are just gone for sure from that as well. They're just like, yeah, that's not. Remember that they were talking about? Yeah, that's not happening anymore.
Yeah, there's plenty of those. Which is kind of unfortunate because like I wanted. There was some projects that had already been announced that I was looking forward to. I was like, oh man, that's done for. That's a bummer. But no, yeah, we're going into it pretty expectation free. But I was really hoping it would be good. So that's where I was at. So I think we were kind of on the same level with that.
Yeah, I think we were pretty much similar things. I mean, we wanted good things for it. We wanted to do well. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having some competition with Marvel there going on. We want to see more of the heroes. It's good. I like a lot of DC stuff.
Right. Well, and I mean, especially because Marvel lately, at least in my opinion, which I've expressed this before, but Marvel's had some bombs recently, and more than like one every couple of movies. There was a couple back to back that were just they weren't super fun or entertaining, or like they were kind of felt like second screen material almost, like put it on while you're cleaning the house type stuff. And it was like, you don't want to go to the movies to see a second screen material product, you want to go for something like Superman, which yeah, I kind of felt good about even after seeing the movie. I was pretty happy about that. So what do you want to start with as far as discussion wise? You want to just go kind of a scene by scene breakdown, or do you want to go plot summary and then recap story?
What did you think of the story overall? I usually have a harder time. It takes a little longer for me to figure out what they did right or wrong. Did you recognize much of the story from anything, or was it pretty? I mean, obviously it's the same points, I think, from a lot of stuff. It's like, oh, big bad, and this is happening to stop this, and this guy's doing this, But yeah, what you think? Did you think they picked a good story generally, or choice wise?
Yeah, overall, I think the story was solid. I didn't notice it being pulled from anything in particular. Clearly, they were kind of mix and mashing a couple of different stories. And again, are we trying to be spoiler free? I don't think we need to be spoiler free necessarily.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, you've been warned. Spoilers. So, I mean, obviously with like Ultraman, that was, done a little bit differently. Sure. And then with the Pocket Universe stuff later on, that was done quite a bit differently than
Yeah,
anything.
I
So
don't think I'd seen that.
yeah, there's a lot of, and the engineer, obviously they changed some stuff with that. So yeah, I don't think like there was definitely scenes in the movie where I was like, oh, that was a reference, or like that was pulled from this, or there's a couple different things, but overall as a story, no, I didn't notice it following anything that I've ever read before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I saw a lot of stuff, especially from like James Gunn, or not a lot, but some of the things that I saw were like fresh new take, and like we're gonna mix it up and do it. And I was, which you never know if that's gonna be a good or a bad thing. And then I watched it, and I was like, I don't know, it didn't seem that like out of left field or anything like that. It wasn't so fresh.
Was it like specifically like was it very progressive to you in like the choices he was making or anything? I didn't really see that.
No,
Very
I don't
much
think
at
it
all.
was. At least not overtly. Like,
Yeah.
there was clearly some stuff because they do like the war overseas and
Oh yeah, I mean
that
that's
type of
political
stuff. There's
for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely politically charged, but progressive. No, not really. I mean, not like I said, not in any overt way. There was
Yeah,
a line
I didn't
here or
think
there
so.
or something like that, but it wasn't. No, it wasn't in your face about anything really.
I thought he
even
was
the
very
politics.
like yeah, he was kind of back to the roots almost with how much he was like saving animals and looking out for everybody, and he was kind of he had a kind of a simple view of what his job was, where he's like people were dying, and I needed to do something. That was like one of his main motivation. Partially, he's like I'm just here to help,
Yeah.
and I was like I thought that was cool. I thought that was
Yeah, it almost felt a little bit more, not retro, that's not the right word, but like, not small town, because obviously it had huge worldly and otherworldly impacts in the movie, but yeah, just like simple in the way that he was just like, it wasn't like, oh, well, we're having Superman pick sides or anything. He was genuinely just like, if people need help, I'm going to help them. It doesn't matter who they are.
yeah.
And like, if bad people are doing bad things, I'm going to stop them. And
There were cool like parallels between the Christopher Reeve and this current David Cornsweet, like how like cool Lex was trying to be when he first showed up in his office. It was very similar to the original Gene Hackman scene where he's like just making little comments even though he's destroying his room. It was pretty funny.
yeah, I guess I don't want to jump around too much because I know we're talking about story, but one thing I will say, on the good side of things, at least in my opinion, is characters felt super strong for the most part. And as far as like casting specifically, I thought the casts were, there was two characters that I was a little like meh about, but everybody else I thought did really good. Like, they were really well cast.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Nicholas Hoult did a great job as Lex.
yeah. Yeah, I think he's good. He usually puts a lot of effort into whatever he's in. I'm generally down with if he's involved.
Yeah, no,
So
he's
I
a good
didn't have
actor.
a problem with.
I was trying to think of the last thing I'd seen him in before this, and it might have been like The Menu, which was a while ago. Come
Yeah,
to
that
think
was
of
a
it,
while ago.
it was like 2019 or something, I think.
Well, he was just in like that Renfield thing.
Yeah, I never saw
a
that.
few years ago, and then, what was he just in? He was in like that show where he's like the what's it called, the Grand or the Duchess or whatever it's called.
Oh
Where
yeah,
he's like royalty, he's just like a rich kid.
yeah.
Back in early
What
England.
is that called? The Great.
The Great, yeah.
I think it's called The Great.
It's about like young Elizabeth or something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen it, but I remember seeing
That was
advertisements.
like semi-recent. I guess that's still a few years ago, but
Yeah, but he's still kicking. He's still crushing it.
yeah.
David Cornsweet did a really good job as well. Okay, so how did you feel about David Cornsweet first? You start, because
Yeah,
I
I
have
think,
some
I think
opinions.
he's very serious and very grounded, and he appreciates what he's up against in like a good way. I think he pretty much like he fills out the role like pretty well, like humanizes it. There was enough talent there, I think, for sure. Like Yeah, I think he handled just about everything surface level that I could see, in a way that like personifies that character. I don't think he was lacking too much in most of it. Like he seemed very exuberant. You could see. I mean, even like off the screen and like the press tours and stuff, he was very like he seemed very respectful, very like quiet, and like helpful to everybody, and just like he wasn't like goofing off really or doing anything. He seemed like a very sober guy and upright, and he has like stuff that honors his dad and different things that he carries with him as remembrance and stuff. Like seems like a decent guy.
Yeah,
from what I've seen, and so and yeah, he wasn't. It's not like he was going around like rousing around, after and like being crazy or anything.
No, I don't.
You guys
I don't
remember
think any of the
anything?
meta stuff.
Yeah, I think
was negative or anything.
But yeah, and then in the role he looked pretty right. I mean, he doesn't look like the other Supermen, but I mean, it's like they all have their own strengths, and they can look any similar types of ways.
I
to the
think
role.
I might have a hot take on this. I'm not sure. I
Okay.
haven't fleshed this out with anybody, but I was kind of comparing him to Andrew Garfield in the way that when Andrew Garfield was playing Spider-Man, I thoroughly enjoyed his Spider-Man character.
Yeah.
But I thought he was probably the weaker of at the time, two Peter Parkers between him and Tobey. Or not weaker necessarily, but just I preferred Tobey's Peter to Andrew's.
Okay.
And I kind of feel the same way about David Cornsweet's Superman, where I thoroughly enjoyed his performance as Superman. But, well, first of all, Clark doesn't get a whole lot of screen time.
No.
And I'm referring him to that just to make it easy. Like, obviously, they're the same person. But when he is Clark, I mean, Clark's on screen for maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah, I guess there wasn't too much of a difference between them.
Yeah,
I guess,
it kind of felt
and their mannerisms.
a little too similar because, and actually, afterwards I saw in a little clip with David Cornsweet of he kind of called it to my attention a little bit, where he was talking about how he wanted the underpants on the outside and how he went about like thinking about that and making that happen and yada yada. Anyways, he was talking about how he kind of wanted Superman to relate to Clark a little bit more in his character and like mannerisms, because he is so powerful and it would be so easy for him to come across as intimidating. That's one way to kind of be a little bit more lighthearted. Like he wants kids to be able to approach him, and it helps if he looks like a little bit silly because it's more lighthearted and that type of stuff. And I was like, and then he compared it to Clark, and I was thinking about it, I was like, Clark didn't really do anything goofy. Like he never tripped or stumbled or like dropped his papers, or he wasn't like a klutz or anything. He kind of just was Superman with glasses. And I was like, oh yeah, kind of like not in a super negative way or anything, but he just kind of didn't do anything as Clark. Like there was no differentiating factors aside from the glasses.
He was like spatially aware and like kind of glancing around a lot more maybe.
Yeah.
But
he was like confident when he confronted Lois.
But yeah, when they were sitting there and joking, he was just talking normally at his desk.
Like he wasn't the butt of any of the jokes, or like he was, the back and forth with him and Lois wasn't like, usually in those settings, in previous movies or iterations, Lois kind of gets the upper hand verbally, or in their verbal back and forths, and whether or not that's because she was getting her, or if it was because he was trying to put on a little bit to be Clark.
Degree.
Yeah, exactly. And he, like, they were just tit for tat, like going back and forth.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that is kind of like, there wasn't really a differentiating factor for me aside from the glasses, between Clark and Superman.
Yeah.
They felt super similar to me.
Yeah, and he and what's his face? Uh, wait, what's the
Jimmy?
Yeah, he and Jimmy were just acting like a couple of friends, in the office. They were kind of like messing around a little
Yeah,
bit
that was fun. I
for
liked
a
that.
second, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's I mean, that seems normal.
Yeah.
Like that should be the Clark side. He doesn't have to be super straight laced necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, and not even straight laced necessarily, but just like,
He doesn't have to be like nervous.
even
Be around people who have anxiety.
even
That's just an interpretation.
in Smallville, that was one of the big critiques of like, he was very much more like Superman, or in Smallville it was the Blur, but he wasn't by the later seasons, he wasn't a super believable Clark because he was so like jacked. He was like a really big, he's like 6'5" and his shoulders are like 4 feet
Yeah.
apart. It was like everyone, like it's hard to believe. But even he kind of put on like he would like do the glasses push up thing where, he uses his thumb to push his glasses up, and then he would like
Yeah.
drop his papers and stumble over stuff and bump into his desk, and and even though it was Tom Welling, who is obviously like bigger than everybody else in almost any room he stands in,
Right.
he was still like, oh, at least the effort's there, and like, he untied his shoe, he stepped on an untied shoelace, or what, something. His tie wasn't straight or whatever. And that's why I compared him to Andrew Garfield, because in those movies, they kind of made Peter like punk.
Yeah, which this is set 3 years into being Superman, so a lot of stuff is already established. Maybe he's gotten past a lot of that, where he's figured some of that out, and he's balanced, kind of smoothed it over, and is not as like, maybe he started in some of that, but then was like, oh, that's not the direction to be going with this character. And he's already got the relationship going with Lois, and she knows his identity at this point. So, and seemingly so does like several other people.
Yeah, a lot of everyone in the movie knows he's the new Batman. He just tells everybody his identity, apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, that was one thing that bothered me a little bit.
That's what we didn't. We didn't get the superhero cafe scene.
Oh yeah, right.
James Gunn said we were gonna get it at some point.
Not yet.
Yeah.
But no, that was one thing that, I don't know. Yeah, it was a few years in, so I thought he would almost be better at having a separation between Clark and Superman. It would almost be more convincing. Like, oh, he knows how important it is to protect his identity because he's done this for 3 or 4 years now. Or 3
Yeah,
years now.
maybe that's leading to something where he's getting a little too lax with it and thinking, oh, I'm invincible, it's fine. And like she's saying, hey, they're gonna figure this out, and then maybe that's gonna be a plot point coming up,
Right.
where he's not really paying too much attention as he should. He's getting too confident, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely didn't seem like this story was going towards that at all, but it could easily lead into it in a future film.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. So I know we're jumping around a little bit here. What else is new? So the opening like title scene. What do you think of that?
Like the text.
Yeah,
stuff,
the text
or
intro.
Because I like the logo stuff. That was definitely throwback. Like,
Yeah.
Like kind of almost like an 80s TV series with the Blur face. I like that a lot. But the text opener was funny, I thought, because it just kept going, and you're like, okay, how far are they gonna go with this? It was like three centuries, 3 decades, three months, 3 weeks, 3 days, 3 hours, 3 minutes.
Yeah,
that was fun.
That
was very James Gunn.
That was
Just
a lot by the end. But
you
yeah.
start with something serious, and then you're like, actually, what if we just
take
see
it
how
all
far
the
we
way
can
to
take it, and
unserious.
see how funny this gets. But it also actually kind of explained a lot in a short amount. Like, it was a pretty good little way to do that.
Right.
It actually covered a lot of different things, not even just Superman stuff for us. So now we know exactly where we are in the universe.
Yeah,
Which is interesting.
I have such a hard time with it because even in something like Star Wars is obviously iconic with like the
crawl.
crawl, but even in something like that, it's like it always comes across to me, or not always, but I would say a majority of the time when that happens in a movie, it comes across as like a little cheap to me, or like easy.
That they have to give you some exposition that way.
Yeah, it's almost
Without
like
showing you.
it's not as bad as just characters like blatantly saying like this is this and that is why this is
Yeah.
this, and the as you know scenes are terrible.
Yeah.
But like it's like, yeah, everyone here knows. You don't need to tell any of us that stuff's
Right.
worse for sure. But the title, like the words on the screen, is always. It's one thing to be like,
Yeah.
Kandahar at 3:17 p.m. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. It's just like a little blurb, like the Jason Bourne thing. I think they did that in those.
I can see people, like not really liking that, but I grew up with like real old films, and it was always like medieval stuff about like Ivanhoe and Robin Hood, and they always let in with like a storybook type thing where it was like, and here in the and they'd give you the year and the year of our Lord this, and this is what's happening, and they would give you a little thing, and I'm very used to that, seeing that, so I don't mind that kind of stuff at all. I don't think personally, so I was okay with it, but depending on what takes you out of a film, I guess that could affect things, or just, I mean, yeah, some people just don't like the intro like words.
Yeah,
in
I mean,
general.
it's like I grew up with a bunch of that too. So the nostalgia side of it, and like, I don't absolutely hate it. It didn't take anything away from it necessarily for me,
Okay.
but there always is a little bit of like, I don't know. It's not quite it's not like a full on cop
You want
out.
them to try a little harder.
But yeah, it's like, there's ways to do that aren't just as easy as literally typing letters on a screen and then being like, it's the
Yeah.
old, like in the old movies when they would do like the newspaper drop on the sidewalk, and
yeah.
it's like the whole literally front page news, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, okay, well that's exactly what we're doing
that's
now.
a very Superman thing.
Yeah,
Open it with
exactly.
the cartoon would just like the spin in the.
Well, and that's a little bit more of a creative way. I mean, it's kind of the same, but I don't know.
Sure.
There are ways to do it that are a little less blatant, I feel like. And nothing wrong with it necessarily, but it does. And I guess there's a trade-off too, because it's like, well, would you rather have that, or would you rather have the movie be 2 hours and 40 minutes? Because they needed to show you all that, and it's like, okay, fair.
Hey,
Like,
I'll take the 2 hours.
I'll take I'll take a 2 hour movie. I'm a little bit done with the 3 hour movies.
I don't mind having long.
It depends on the movie. It really does. So, I mean, if it's done well, it's done well. That's great.
Yeah.
But usually, most movies don't need that runtime. There's a lot of filler in 3 hour movies.
Yeah. it can be.
Most of the time. And so, I don't know. There's something to be said about the trade off there. And it was fine. Like, it didn't take me out of it or anything. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, that's what we're doing. All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
And then to follow it up, that was, so I know we said we were talking about like not trying to get stuff spoiled for us. The one thing, and I talked about this a little bit before, but the one thing that I was a little bit bummed I saw was the crypto introduction scene,
Oh,
because the movie opens with that scene.
Yeah.
And even though I was actively trying not to watch Superman stuff, I had seen that scene like 4 times on different like reels or what. It just kept popping up, and so I'd seen parts of it throughout multiple times. And so I kind of wasn't like looking forward to it, just because of like the meta reasons of like, oh yeah, I know it, like I've seen this.
I've seen it a lot.
And if that had been the first time I'd seen Krypton, I was like, that would have actually been a fun introduction. But because I was literally just sitting there waiting for the scene to be over, because it was like the 7th time I had watched it, I noticed that. I was like, oh, that kind of took me out of it, because I don't care that we're being introduced to crypto.
Yeah, it always does. I halfway hate seeing all the
I
the
hate
stuff. Like, it's cool to see
hate
stuff before the film, but then once you watch the film, you're like, I wish I hadn't seen it.
Yeah, I
Every
always
time.
feel that way.
Yeah, they definitely show a lot beforehand. Which, as a supporting character, Crypto has a lot of the runtime. Like, it's almost a Superman and Crypto movie.
He does and he doesn't. He very much so appears when the
Do you
movie
think he
needs
just-
him.
Do you think he just like takes the scene, like he usurps the other characters in the scene when he shows up?
Well,
basically?
kind of, but then also in certain scenes, he does just straight up disappear for like several seconds, and you're like, wait, Crypto was just here, and now he's not here, and then all of a sudden he's back again. I was like, okay, again, we're jumping around, but when I hate doing this, but it's okay. When they're in the pocket dimension and Superman's going to escape, and they're fighting all the guards and all that.
Yeah.
He once he frees Crypto, Crypto's like next to him and he's helping.
Yeah.
And then like they do the whole river scene thing.
Yeah.
and Crypto's just not next to him anymore. And they showed Crypto doing something else, but then like,
well, he was chasing the T-sphere.
yeah, he chased it, but then like he gets it, and then they cut away from Crypto, and because they're showing like what's going on with Superman, like even if that was happening simultaneously, Crypto got that T-sphere in like 10 seconds, and the scene with Superman was like 60 something seconds. It was like, where's Crypto this whole time? Like, even if you were saying those things happened simultaneously, Crypto was right next to him, and then he
So
just
he was
wasn't.
just messing around with that thing.
Yeah.
I was imagining.
No, I mean, I'm sure that's what, the story's telling, but it's just kind of like,
Yeah.
it felt very much like it's Superman's scene now. Like, Superman needs to have a fight, and it would be very
I think
it would be too easy of a scene if Crypto was still around.
I think
like
the whistle happening once and then twice was cool, but then them like doing like a
Yes.
prolonged version of that like 4 times or whatever they did.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, he should just say Crypto or something, for one of the later ones instead of
the whistle should have been like
It's like, okay, we get it.
a 1 or 2 time, like especially because it was introduced so early.
Yeah.
It's basically Superman's first line. Well, his first line is Crypto. He says Crypto's name.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't hear him, so he whistles for him. So it's essentially the first line of the movie.
Yeah, he's the most important character.
If you're going to introduce it that early,
Yeah.
then what you do is you use it in the final act one more time as like like we set this up and here's the payoff.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's like 4+ times, and it's pretty much evenly spread throughout them. Like he does it like every 20 minutes in the movie he does it. And it's like it does get a little bit like the whistle.
Here we go
and
again.
To that note, Hawkgirl is in this movie, and every time she's on screen in any fight scene, she's screeching. And it just brought me back to the Zack Snyder Wonder Woman soundtrack. Every time they glance at Wonder Woman in the Justice League movies,
It's like da-na-na-na-na-na.
yeah, na-na-na-na-na-na, every single time.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, the intro was cool, and like maybe in like her main fight scene, but literally like Ben Affleck's Batman would look at her and they'd start the Wonder Woman sound. I'm like, what are we doing? And they did the same thing with Hawkgirl when every time she would go to fight, she would screech. And I'm like, first of all, I don't think that's a Hawkgirl thing. Like, not that I know of. Her and Hawkman don't screech. And even if she did, like, it would have been cooler or more appropriate, at least in my mind, to make it be utilized. So there's a scene specifically where she's getting shot at by dudes with, like, machine guns. And if you're going to give her a screech, and it's because she's Hawkgirl, then you could make it useful. So, like, she might not be bulletproof, so she uses a screech to, like, disorient the guys shooting at her so they, grab their ears or whatever, and then she wins the fight. But, like, it's not that. She's just screeching because Hawkgirl's in the scene, so time for screeching
I
sound.
thought maybe because most of the times she was flying, and I was like, maybe it's like the sonar thing from
Yeah, but she's
the
got wings.
X-Men.
They flap.
But then she would stop and talk, and I was like, okay, so that's not what's helping her fly.
No, it was literally just like, oh,
her thing.
she's a hawk, so she screeches. And it was like, no, but that even if that was the logic, why is it every time we see her doing any action?
Yeah, and we had Hawkman in like one of the last films, which wasn't part of this, but like he wasn't screeching to fly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that's ever
so
been like a thing.
Why are we doing this to the women involved here?
Why are we doing this to us?
Yeah.
Why are we doing this to anyone? It's just, but again, it just, to the further point of the whistle, it was just, there was a couple things in the movie like that where it was just like, okay, we're doing this again. And it wasn't bad. Like the whistle, it wasn't like 80 times or something.
It was
but
just like you, as a narrative thing, you'd want to switch it up a slight way. Like,
yeah, because you don't want us
move
to
on from
notice
that.
it.
Yeah.
So the way I was talking to
I
one of my
definitely noticed.
yeah, exactly. I was talking to one of my buddies about it, and I was like, it's kind of the suspension of disbelief thing. And I understand it's a superhero movie, but it's still, even being a superhero movie, it tests that suspension of disbelief by doing things like that make you realize that you're watching a movie.
Yeah.
And like really top tier films, once you're into it, sometimes from the first scene, like really good films, you forget you're watching a movie because you're engulfed in the story.
Yeah.
And there's a few things, just enough things like that spread out periodically in the movie where it was like, oh yeah, I noticed. Like there was 2 CGI scenes where I was like, it was just CGI enough for me to be like, oof, that was rough. Like, and it made me notice, like, oh yeah, that's not a real thing. So there's one scene where Superman gets thrown into the ground, and some bricks, like, he hits the ground and the bricks go up, and it's just like a fully put together piece of brick, like, or not piece, but like a full brick that flies up. And I'm like, okay, first of all, it would be debris, like it would shatter. It's not a full brick. And second of all, like, the way that it moved it just looked so unearthly. Yeah, it would just, like, it flew off the screen and it shot straight up. And there's a couple of them. It just looked bad. And I was like, oh, that
like proton river was like,
yeah, that was rough.
all just like bits.
Yeah,
it was like very digital, and I was like
a pixel.
What does that have to do with science? Like, why does this look like out of a computer?
Yeah, it was 8-bit.
It looks like something from Pixels or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's a weird way to. I mean, it looked cool, but it was like it didn't seem to match.
No, there was a couple things like that. That's exactly what it was. It's not that it was necessarily bad in and of itself, but it didn't match. And so you notice, and then you notice that you're noticing, and then all of a sudden you have to get back into the movie. And it was like, if you'd just not done the whistle for the 5th time, I wouldn't have been thinking about the whistle.
Is that a thing? That he has like a super whistle?
Yeah. Well, he has super lungs, and so
he can like yell really loud.
Yeah, he can yell really loud.
Across the world.
He has super breath, so he can blow things farther away and freeze stuff with his
Or
breath.
like it's one of those things where you're like, I know he's not actually making that noise, so it's kind of he's having to pretend to whistle, and they always have to. And he's like, there's a lot of flexing going on his jaw, and I'm like, why is he needing to flex his jaw to whistle?
One of the whistles was just off with the sync up.
Yeah,
where it was like less than a half second behind, but it was just enough to where you're like, oh, he's not doing that. It was
I know.
And it's just like, well, just don't do the whistle so much, and I probably would have noticed. But it was the 4th or 5th time he whistled, so I started noticing the other, like, if you do it once or twice, I probably won't notice.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, just a couple of times, and then that other time, Crypto should have been close enough. You just be like, Crypto.
Kind of the same.
And that would work.
Kind of the same thing with him getting thrown on the ground with the CGI blurb scene, where it was like, I think he gets thrown into or deliberately flies into the ground like 5 times. And it might have been part of that. If it was like, I've seen the ground explode 4 or 5 times.
That's from the Hammer of Bravia, right? The one where he spins around this way,
and then
stops,
up and then down,
and then just throws straight down, and he's going end over end. And I was like, he's not going very fast. Like, why couldn't he have stopped himself?
Yeah,
and
that was
started
the other
flying?
thing.
I didn't know why he continued to the ground.
His flight pattern, like his flight powers.
That's just nitpicking.
No, it is kind of a nitpick, but it's also I thought the same thing, because I was like, how do his flight powers work? Does he need something to push off of, like an invincible, like, or does he create, not like invincible? Does he create his own force to push off of, like invincible? Because if that's the case, there was like 3 or 4 times in the movie where he gets thrown, and he's not able to stop him. So he has to hit a wall or hit the ground, and then I'm like, so does he need the wall or the ground to kick off of? Because
I guess
there's times where he's shown suspended in air, so it's not like he's just jumping, because he is flying.
Yeah, that's true.
Like when he's talking to Lantern, when the giant thing is attacking the city, and they're both just hovering. Yeah. And so it's like, okay, so he's not like jumping.
No.
He's flying. And then the other time he goes up into space, like but then again, there was the one where the Ultraman throws him, and it's from like hundreds of yards up. Like they're up like near the top of one of the skyscrapers, and he falls and he's, like you said, it's not straight down with like heavy force. He's end over end. So it's like if you or I were thrown off a building, like we would just perpetually keep moving until something else stopped us.
But he should be able to just start hovering off of
it
might skid through the air for a little bit, but he wouldn't be hitting
like the cartoons do, where like he gets punched by somebody and then he's like Darkseid hits him. And he goes back 100 yards and then stops himself in
It's
midair.
like if the thing had done a punch or a throw where it was like they make
force.
those visibly.
Yeah.
Just like, and he just hits the ground like that.
Fast.
Yeah,
It wasn't a fast
but
fall.
it was just like
He was that's
like
exactly,
he fell off of it. Yeah,
that's exactly what it was. He was falling. He wasn't thrown.
Okay,
he was just falling.
Why did he continue with that and take that impact? But anyway.
Also, speaking of taking impact, he gets the crap beat out of him multiple times.
Yeah.
And they make a point to tell you the first time he's ever lost in any fight is the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And then he loses like 4 more times in the movie. I'm like, dang, so he's just taking L's for the next like 3 days, which I don't know if you noticed, but I think that's another thing. The movie is over 3 days.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the threes was,
Yeah.
but he was.
Well, he's 33 and is the
Yeah,
price parallels.
yeah, but like he did like 9 threes. It's like that's not how that works. You do 2 or whatever. But I don't know. It was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things maybe where you're like you have a perfect record until you don't, and then you kind of relax a little bit, and you're like, oh, okay, so now I can be fallible a little bit.
Well,
and so you get in, it's like you get a ticket, and then you get in a wreck, and then it's like that next month you get like 3 tickets or whatever, and you get it out of your system.
I think the movie was
weird...
more trying to tell us like this is the power level of the people he's going up against, like more so than like.
Which they were building up to this point.
Yeah, but then even the Kaiju kind of wrecks him. And I was like, can't he? That was another thing. I was like, can he just? They were trying to figure out how to get out of the city. And I was like, is he not strong enough to carry it?
Yeah, no. So the whole thing with that was that he was trying to be delicate, and he's like, I want to keep it alive. I want to get it out of here.
Yeah,
really.
But could he not?
And
just
he was trying to figure out an angle of like not bumping. It was kind of in this little area that was not around.
It was in the
but
central
it was
park
surrounded
of
by
Metropolis,
buildings.
basically.
It was surrounded by buildings, but he was like trying to gingerly figure out a way without killing it and without causing too much damage to get it out of there. And then the Justice League shows up and like was like, no, let's just kill it.
It's not the Justice League. Let's be clear.
So
okay. It's the Justice Gang.
I didn't want to say the Justice Gang. I don't think I'm on Guy Gardner's side. But yeah, we can talk about them.
You mean Guy Gardner and Metamorpho?
So yeah, we can talk about them for a second. So apparently Max Lord has a group of metahumans that he's hired and paid to kind of protect the area, if not the globe. I'm not sure, but probably mainly, as far as we know, Metropolis, Metrocity. So, and they are comprised of a lantern. They say they're all human, but I don't know. But we've got also a hot girl, and we've got Mr. Terrific, which probably the first time we've seen him in live action, I think.
Yes, I believe so.
And Guy Gardner, technically. He may have like appeared for a second in the other Green Lantern, but and then we had Nathan Fillion, which was fun. He got roped into another James Gunn project. They said they're just torturing him at this point. But I mean, he's like, I will do whatever.
Yeah, he's gonna
I'm game. And I thought it was pretty fun. He got to play kind of a douche. And we had we also had side note, there was Alan Tudyk, Palm Clementieff, we had Michael Rooker, Michael Rosenbaum, somebody else.
Lots of people.
Definitely lots of others, but yeah, those were a few of some of those were all. Bradley Cooper.
Oh yeah,
that they were like some of them were in the first scene. They were the robots, the super robots, and then like his father was played, and then Angela Serafin from Westworld and some other stuff were in the first scene as well. But they said. What was it? So my friend was saying that like those robots, so those came with him on the ship, right? Or he built them or something. But are they Kryptonian steel? Are they made out of Kryptonian steel, technically?
So in the movie, they don't make it clear at all, but I would imagine so. Like they're quote unquote supposed to be.
Okay.
But like it's Kryptonian tech.
It's Kryptonian tech. Okay.
But. They don't seem...
So we're like, he was like, well, how did the engineer just walk in and using nanomites or whatever, like start cutting through Kryptonian steel? He's like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like nothing on Earth should be able to cut through that.
Well, that's what I was saying. They got
steel,
bodied,
and they were just destroyed. Like
they didn't even land a punch on Lex.
No.
And I was like, how?
Yeah, they did one of those like
12?
fun 3D scenes where everything was like inches away from his face, and he was just walking through because he was so confident in his abilities.
That was in the trailer, and it
holy,
did not look
good. That could go wrong so quickly. I would not be that confident walking through stuff that was flying past my face.
Yeah, they also did a weird thing.
No
with
matter
Lex.
how protective they were trying to be.
We can get to it a little later if we
Parts
want,
are flying everywhere.
There was a weird thing with Lex where he was like, he is an ultra genius, but he would be like way too confident about things that he didn't really have control over. Like that, for instance, is like, there's no way he could have known that the engineer would be able to handle the robots that well. There's no reason he should have had that confidence in her because he wasn't aware of the threat. Versus when they're fighting Superman
Even if
later,
she's super capable. It's like
That's
the
what I'm
amount of
saying.
them that were coming at different directions.
There's no reason.
She and Ultraman.
Yeah, there's no
weren't
reason
necessarily gonna be,
he
and they
should
didn't
have.
even know about the dog. She got like blindsided. By
Right, that's exactly
Crypto.
what I mean. Is he walks in there with utmost confidence. For
Yeah.
like, I know they were trying to portray, the movie's trying to tell you like this is how much he knows the engineer and Ultraman, like that they're going to take care. But I'm like, yeah, but he doesn't know the enemies that they're going up against.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
for not necessarily that they would be, but for all he knows, those robots could have been as strong as Superman, and there's 12 of them. So, and he just walks in like super confidently to the point to where at one point something explodes almost inches from his, or not explodes, but gets destroyed right next to him.
technically, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, why? Like, I know they're trying to be like, oh, he's so smart, he knew it wouldn't hurt him, but that's not a thing he could have known.
Yeah.
Like, I get later on in the movie when they're fighting
just
Superman,
overconfidence.
he's confident, and they show us why he's confident. It's like because of all the hours of study he's put. Like, he supposedly knows all of Superman's moves. That's why he's confident. And I'm like, that makes sense because he's that smart that he figured that out.
Yeah.
But he didn't have time or the knowledge to figure out the robot stuff. Like, there's no reason he should have been that confident.
Yeah.
That's actually stupid, not smart. Like,
And it would, and that made sense because I liked that because Lex totally would be the one. He's the nerd that would be like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna figure out like battle moves that I can, which I don't know how that runs through Ultraman's head or whatever.
yeah,
like,
that was not well explained at all.
that part wasn't, but him giving battle instructions, and then Superman obviously is just like a kid that grew up in Kansas. Is like he doesn't know how to fight. Like he's swinging, but yeah, like all those other things. Like yeah, obviously that's gonna be more fight capable than him because he doesn't know any of that stuff.
Right.
He's
But
not gonna try to grab the guy's head or do a specific thing. You know,
until he does.
Yeah. Well, he just did like a barrel roll and a and an eye laser vortex or whatever.
But yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot of negatives to the movie, but a lot of the negatives all surround the same things for me. And those being like some of the stuff. It's the problem that we always run into whenever there's supposed to be ultra genius characters, whether they're good guys or bad guys. If you don't, and I'm not trying to insult anybody, but if you don't have ultra genius people writing the ultra genius character, then they're not going to think of the things that an ultra genius would think of. And you know, Lex, and the problem with this movie, or one of the problems with this movie, is there are two ultra geniuses in the movie, being Lex Luthor and Mr. Terrific.
Yeah.
They're both supposed to be like the top intellects in the entire world.
Right.
And they both do things that I'm like, that was kind of dumb. And I'm like, wait, why are we having our two smartest characters? Like, and the problem with it for me is that they do those things in settings where there was other people who could have done them. And what I mean by that is in one of the scenes, Mr. Terrific calls Superman Clark around someone that he's never met before. But he's in a room with Lois.
Yeah.
And the reason he says it is because he's like, they're trying to convey that he's concerned for Superman because Superman looks terrible. Like he just got kryptonite poisoning.
Yeah.
And he's like, Clark, what's wrong with you? I'm like, you should have had Lois say that because one, he's an ultra genius, so he should know better than to say Clark's secret identity around a guy he just met.
Yeah.
And two, like the whole next act is trying to convey like how much Lois cares for him. Mm-hmm. And so having her break, because she had up to that point, she actually throughout the whole movie, but if they had written it this way, up to that point, she had done really good about calling him Superman when he needed to be Superman, and Clark when he she was the best at it.
And
she was better than Clark.
And she would be good, but it would make sense.
But in
because
that
she's
scene,
human,
and he looks
him.
like he's about to die.
Yeah.
That it would make sense for Lois to say Clark
I agree
instead
with
of, and so it's like, and there's a couple like Lex does that like once or twice where he does or says the thing where it's like, there's another person in the scene that could have done that, and it was kind of dumb. Have them do it. Mm-hmm. He's a super, like he shouldn't be doing anything dumb. And then Mr. Terrific had two. That was one of them. Where it was like, why'd you like? It's not like they were alone. You know, if it's a scene where they're the only character and you need somebody to say the thing, then that's one. You know, you don't have a good workaround. But like, that's a super simple workaround. The example I gave.
And there was the other scene where Terrific was just like, I don't know what to do here. I can put in codes, but it's not going to work. But he was like, there was kind of a scene where they were like, I don't know how to handle this, so he would just say, oh, I can't do this.
Yes.
And then the next, like one of the next few scenes later, he comes in and is like, oh, I've got this.
So
now that I'm at their center, which partially makes sense, but not.
They write themselves.
They had to just hold him off for a sec.
Right. They write themselves into a corner because what they're
like, we don't want it resolved right now, basically, but he's here.
So Mr. Terrific is the one that can enter the code because he knows how to do it. But the problem is that Lex is in a ship that has the computer that needs the code entered, and it's moving around.
Yeah.
And obviously, the movie wants Lex and Superman to have the final confrontation.
Yeah.
So instead of Mr. Terrific just locating the ship and busting in and entering the code,
right,
they just put him on pause for a couple minutes while Superman
like, hey,
finishes.
Superman, I need your help.
Yeah, and then he just disappears while Superman has a fight, and then
Yeah.
when Superman gets done with his one fight, he reappears and is like, come with me and we'll do the code thing.
Yeah.
And it was like, all you needed to do to resolve this is have Lex's ship have some ultra-stellar defenses that are stalling Mr. Terrific.
Right, yeah.
Just have him be getting
away.
shot at or whatever, just something to where he is occupied, to where it's like he needs Clark to come take out the big guns so that he can get in. And instead they just they straight up give him nothing to do.
Yeah.
It just cuts to
It was
Superman.
kinda weird.
It's the same thing I was talking about with Crypto earlier at the river scene where it's like it shows Mr. Terrific say like, hey, I need your help. And then it cuts and then they don't go to him again until Clark meets up with him, and it's like, what was he doing? That was like a 5-minute fight.
Yeah,
like he just didn't do anything apparently, and
I think he was awesome. Like, in the parts that he was used.
Yeah, no,
Terrific was awesome.
They used him way better than I expected him to. I thought they were gonna just like introduce him and then be like, well,
his fight scene was one of the best.
Yeah, it was a good one.
It was pretty great.
Which I don't know how I feel about that. Like, yeah, he's super smart, and in the comics he's supposed to be like a triathlete or whatever, and like an Olympic like swimming champion or something like that. I can't remember, or maybe he's an Olympic triathlete, and so he's super fit and he knows how to box or something. I can't remember what his thing is. He knows like martial arts.
Doing too much hand to hand or anything.
No, but he was really good.
Like, he was very.
He took on like 13 dudes by himself, and obviously he had the T-spheres and stuff.
T-spheres were hitting a lot of them.
But he was
shocking.
It wasn't like he was just boxing or just throwing or whatever. Like he was straight up fighting.
That brings me to this universe guys, like they're worried about people dying and stuff, but if you're against them, these heroes will just kill you.
They kill everybody.
And like in that fight, the Raptors were in full suits. They're guys in suits, and they were getting hit and bodied. But then there were also people, the techs and stuff that were just in Hawaiian shirts on the beach were all getting like hit with T-spheres and then shocked. Like just they were holding onto them.
I was about to say,
knocked out.
I think they were supposed to convey that he was like tasing them. But they don't show many of them get back up.
But there was one, like the one where he's facing her and he's on the ground, he's holding it.
Yeah.
They pan past it. And he takes out a few people and they pan back and he still goes, ugh.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that is excessive.
Even if it's just a taser, you're getting tased it was like 20 seconds.
A while.
It was a long time.
Yeah, and then Superman is like protecting people, but then the people he's fighting, like he full on like laser shot all of those Raptor guys. Like
in the end,
and then they fell directly to the ground from that height. They were above some of the skyscrapers.
Yeah,
in those metal suits, the weight of those things bringing them to Earth. Like there were lots of situations.
But then in the other scene when they're breaking out of the prison, it does, and I don't know if they were trying to convey he was holding back, or if they were trying to convey how weak he was because of kryptonite poisoning. But there's only 3 of those guards in there. And he doesn't body any of them. Like,
no, yeah.
He laser eyes the one dude, but he has a hard time.
He has a tough time.
And it seemed like it because he wasn't really attacking. Like he's at the same time he's trying to protect this baby, and so like they kind of focus on the baby side of it.
I think that's how they mitigated that. Where they're like, he's doing a lot of. He's trying to stay afloat. He's trying to save the baby. He's trying not to get pushed under. It's like so many things happening.
Even if, because at one point he like switches the baby from one hand to the other and punches a dude kind of simultaneously, like he like slides the baby from one end to the other and like turns and kind of like right hooks
Yeah.
this guy, and then like the dude like gets hit and then comes right back, and I'm like, so he didn't hit him very hard.
Yeah.
I'm like, so was that like not? Is he that? And then the next scene, he like flies out of a black hole, basically. I'm like, so how strong is he supposed to be? Like, I'm so the power
Yeah.
settings in a lot of the scenes don't make sense,
Yeah.
and or they not that they don't make sense, they just vary. So like Guy Gardner, he when they're fighting the Titan thing or whatever it is, the
Yeah,
kaiju, he like is using like pretty
pocket monster.
small imaginative weapons.
Yeah.
Like it's they're big, but like compared to the kaiju, they're small. And then later
Does he
on,
imagine he's flying? Because then he got swung around and got knocked out of the air, and then he just falls. I was
dude,
like,
he gets
keep
thrown.
flying. What are you doing?
He gets thrown into a telephone pole.
Yeah.
And one thing I thought was interesting about this Green Lantern is, in previous Green Lanterns or in the animated series or whatever, they have that green like line around their body, the outline.
Yeah.
He doesn't have
he-
that.
yeah, he doesn't.
And he gets just straight up smacked by the kaiju, and he hits a telephone pole in the middle of his body. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's just a dude. And they don't like indicate that he has any type of ring shield because he just flies from like his feet.
Yeah.
Like they show it at one point, he like lifts off and the bottom of his feet are green or whatever, I think.
Oh, okay.
And,
I didn't
or maybe
even
it was
see
just
that.
his shoes, but it looked like he kind of like lifted off. They indicate he's using his ring to lift off.
Yeah.
They just don't visualize like an outline around him. And I'm like, so like, does green stuff not need to appear for him to use it? Because if that's
Yeah.
the case, then it's kind of
Well, people were worried from like the promos are like, oh, he wasn't tethered to some of the
He doesn't
stuff.
have to be tethered
And it's
to it.
like, you
That's
don't have
stupid.
to be
Yeah.
tethered.
that's never.
And
been a-
he
that's not
was
the thing.
generally in a lot of it. It
Yeah.
was just like some of the fight in Bravia.
Well, and then that's
But-
what I was about to say is when he gets to Bravia, he uses some big, multiple big projections at the same time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so could he have just lifted that kaiju and flown it off? Because the ring's
Probably.
powerful, so like, why didn't he just pick it up? Because the whole thing was
I
like,
don't know. Apparently not, because like he put the mittens on it and it was yanking him around, so it seemed like it had still more strength than him
right?
somehow.
Obviously, it would be stronger than him.
So I don't know if he could have picked it up. Maybe with the help of the T-spheres and
Well, that's what I'm saying.
something
Is
else, like if
so
they'd all work together.
He latches its hands and then he
But they didn't
ties the
care
mitten.
about it.
Like he tries to like hold them down with his body.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but if he just put a bubble around it and lifted the bubble,
Oh.
what would the kaiju be fighting? Like he could
Yeah,
try to
true.
break it, but he wouldn't be able to
Yeah.
move him because he wouldn't be tethered to it necessarily. Like he would be pulling it up.
It's a possibility.
So, but that's what I'm saying is it was just like,
But the whole thing was again,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
they didn't care to do that.
Right.
And that was the problem. Is like they had
No.
a different goal than Superman.
yeah, no, but there was a couple things where they solved it in ways that I was like, I
Yeah.
feel like there was an easier solve and it would have been better simultaneously. Now, Guy's not a thinking character. So he wouldn't have like it wouldn't have been like, how do we solve this the best way? He just wants
Yeah.
to do it. But even then, I'm like,
Yeah.
so why didn't he use bigger project? Like you would have thought. The first thing I thought when I saw that thing was jackhammer,
Yeah. That would be
and like a big jackhammer, and
Yeah.
all the stuff he makes is like I said, relative to us, it's big, but to the kaiju, it's like the size of the kaiju's hand.
Yeah.
I'm like, he can project stuff. Like he projects buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
Like so, and the thing's not bigger than the buildings around it. So just project something building size, like a jackhammer or a sledgehammer, like or any of the other things. He uses a couple of cool imaginative projections,
Yeah.
but they're all pretty small. I'm like, that would have worked because he does do a jackhammer type thing later on the thing's eye.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why didn't he just do a big one on its head? I don't know. There's just some
Yeah.
weird things where I'm like, that was a weird way to do that. And then while we're on the Justice Gang and back to Mr. Terrific,
Yeah.
they do a weird thing where, like, movies do this a lot. I wonder what it is. And even TV shows and, stories in general, I guess. But they go like, oh, the smarter a person is, the less emotional, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, the less they show their emotions. Or
Oh,
like, and
yeah.
they introduce...
More cold there. Right?
Yeah, they introduced Mr. Terrific as like this really cold, smart guy. Like he kills the kaiju. That's how they beat it. Is he
Yeah.
blows up its lung
He's like, all right.
or heart or
Yeah,
whatever, or stomach. Yeah,
Just collapses the stomach.
he
and-
explodes it from the inside out.
Yeah.
and it's like, and he's like, I don't care. Like we need to do what we needed to do. And then like the next two scenes are also him being like hard and cold, and then he kind of warms up later. But I'm like, what? I don't understand the correlation between like I'm smart, so therefore I must not be nice or like interact with people on any level. And it's like, at least in the iterations of Mr. Terrific I've seen, like
That's what
he's
people think we are, man.
yeah, he's smart and he's a little quieter and he talks
Yeah.
slower or whatever, like intentional, like intelligent, not like slow, but like intelligent and confidently. But he's not like abrasive or mean. He's just smart. And I was like, it was kind of a weird choice to have him be kind of a dick. Like he's like not nice at first.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm like super smart, so I don't have to. He doesn't say that exactly, but the scene is telling you like I'm super smart, so I don't need to be nice. I was like, why?
Come on,
Where
we
did
don't have
that
time
come
for
from?
this.
Yeah,
He's like, we don't need to be delicate.
movies do that a lot, and I'm like, just because somebody's smart, they don't have to be like unemotional.
It's a stereotype or an archetype or whatever you would call that.
But I did like Mr. Terrific in the movie. They gave him some cool stuff to do. He was, for the most part, pretty smart. Like, I know they tell us he's smart, but a lot of times movies would be like, they're really smart, and then they do dumb
He
things.
was useful. It was effective.
Yeah, he's very effective.
It's always a good person to have on the team.
There was some James Gunnisms in the movie, though, as well, where it was the garage door thing, where it's like, it's a funny gag, but if you think about it at all, it actually falls apart really quick. Like, it's funny because so him and Lois go to get in his like T-Sphere mobile or whatever, and they call it something, but
Kept
it's like
calling it a flying saucer.
yeah, it's like a jet. It's like his Mr. Fantastic or Scott, Mr. Terrific's jet, and anyways, they go to get in it, and he like opens his garage door, and his garage door goes super slow, and it is a funny gag. Like at the time, I was like, that's funny.
Like, where they're in a hurry.
Yeah, they're in a hurry.
Elevator, and you're just like,
and
why is this taking
and it's
so
funny
long?
because he's a genius tech guy, and all of this stuff's like super futuristic, and then his garage door's slow.
Yeah,
and she, they even have a line about it because of course it's a James Gunn movie, so they have to call out the humor.
Yeah,
and she's like, oh, you've got a jet, but you can't fix your garage door, and he's like, I haven't got to it yet, and it's like, well, yeah, that's funny, and the joke of them calling it out can be funny or whatever, but then also, if you think about that for 2 seconds, it is pretty, like, if he is a genius and he can do all this stuff, he would want that door to open faster, and he's opened that door before, so he knows it's slow, and, like, that's detrimental. Like, very quickly, that could be bad. Like, if you're in an emergency, like, you're superheroes, you gotta get places quick sometimes.
Yeah.
Very quickly, that door opening slow becomes a problem.
Yeah, like it should be a platform coming up through the roof or something to
like,
lift the thing up or
and
whatever.
again,
like
it's funny as a joke, it's fine, but like you are James Gunn does do that in like even in the Guardians movies. He sacrifices actual like movie logic for humor. It's like you can do humor without sacrificing logic. There are ways to do it.
Yeah.
He just does not care about that stuff, I feel like.
It's like the donut scene where he brought a donut, Lex brought it.
Yeah.
It's like
that one's kind of fun, but it doesn't ruin anything.
That one seemed unnecessary though. Like it was like I see what they were trying to do, but they didn't pull off the type of joke that they were trying for there.
Yeah,
it was like supposed to be a New York reference. It was supposed to be a couple of different things, but it was like okay,
the franchise,
a couple of people got it, but that's not.
No, it's still a joke, and it's still like haha funny or whatever, but it's not like knee slapping, laugh out loud funny, and it's kind of takes you out of the scene.
It would be funnier like from Superman almost, because it's like why would Lex be caring about like?
Well, that was kind
this
of
guy
the
wants to
joke.
try. Oh, you should try this coffee.
Well, that's kind of the joke. Is he's this mass murdering villainous evil genius, and he gets a guy a donut. Like that's kind of funny.
I guess that's good.
Like. Superman would get someone a donut.
Yeah.
Lex wouldn't get anyone a donut. So then he gets this dude a donut, and the guy kind of looks at him like, what? And it is funny.
And the humor that he's using this ultra powerful clone
and also
to like flip the light switch on in his meeting and like bring a donut and like all this like
and the way he brings him the
menial
donut,
tasks.
he meets him using an interdimensional portal and goes like, hey, I got you this donut. And it's like, it is funny. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, you are sacrificed. It's like, if you think about it at all, it's like, wait, no, that doesn't actually make any, like, it's the rewatchability is what it is. And it's the same thing with Guardians. Like, Guardians 1 is super rewatchable. And the most of the jokes in it hold up pretty well. And there's a couple of those where it's like, goofy humor or whatever. But as they progress, Guardians...
I think those were executed more.
Yeah. But even
more
those, even as they progress, both 2 and 3 have more of that. And it affects stuff more each time. Because again, if you're doing trilogies or franchise or whatever, then world building's important.
Yeah.
And if you're sacrificing world building for a cheap joke, then it's like, hey, it was funny for the first time that I watched it that second, but then By the time 3 of these movies come out, and then I want to go rewatch the trilogy, and you kind of took some of the world building away for a joke in the first one, and I'm rewatching the third, all 3 of them for the third time, it's like that takes away from the experience overall, as opposed to adding to it. When again, you can add funny stuff that isn't world breaking, or not that they were world breaking, but you know what I mean, where it damages the world building. But I genuinely believe we talked about this a little bit off air way back in the past when James Gunn got hired, about like that is one of his faults, is he will sacrifice like story and world building for a little bit of little funny gag here and there, which is why something like Creature Commandos works really well, because Suicide Squad, Creature Commandos, stuff like that doesn't really care about world building. It's more about the ensemble and like what they are doing in that moment. And kind of the stuff before and the stuff after isn't super impactful to the current story. And James Gunn's really good at that, which is one of the reasons I think the first Guardians is the best one out of his.
Yeah.
Because at the time, he didn't know he was going to get a second or third movie.
No.
So it was pretty confined within itself. So all that stuff worked better. You know what I mean? And so I have a feeling, while those jokes were funny at the time, if there's a Superman 2, Superman 3 on rewatches, the jokes aren't going to land time and time again.
And like, I guess it kind of was that, several of the things they just carried on a little too far, like the Justice Gang joke.
Yeah,
like they used that one a lot as well.
So
like
I'll give you an example of what I think is a good gag.
And it's like you can do that in a new way each time. You don't have to keep doing the same.
Exactly.
One.
So an example of a good gag that works each time and gets a little bit of a heh every time I watch it. I probably laughed harder the first time, but then like it still works every time I watch it. It's in Spider-Man 2. When he's delivering the pizza and he has to change into Spider-Man and do a thing, and he drops the pizza on the roof, and the guy like tries to open the one box to get a slice from the bungee cord, and Spider-Man swings by and webs the boxes, and the dude kind of like looks and he's like, "What the crap?" And he's like got the one slice in his hand, and he kind of shrugs and goes, "Oh well," and he goes to bite it, and Spider-Man webs the one slice away from him.
Yeah,
and it's like it's not like a huge setup or a huge joke or anything, but it's funny because the dude's trying to break into a pizza box that randomly appeared on his top story stoop.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they're just gone. And he's like, well, at least I got this. And there's no like words, or he might like yell at Spider-Man afterwards, but there's not like a setup for it verbally. And then all of a sudden this one piece of pizza, he's like, it's okay, at least I got one. And then that one's taken. That's funny. And it doesn't break anything in the world building. It ages fine with each rewatch. Like, it's just a funny little gag. It didn't have to happen, they could have shown him doing the Spider-Man stuff and the pizza's just dropped off and he picks them up when he's done or whatever. But it adds a little funny lightheartedness to it, and it works. Yeah. And again, on rewatching, it doesn't ruin anything in Spider-Man 2 or 3 later on.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, there are ways to do fun little gag
it's just
jokes.
Part of it's window dressing on the, or paint on the,
and it's not instead of. A lot of the James Gunn jokes are instead, like, we will do a joke, we'll insert a joke instead of inserting character or plot.
Yeah.
And it's like, why don't you insert character or plot, and then whenever a joke applies, add it.
Yeah, it'll naturally.
You don't have to insert it, just like add to, don't take away from. But again, these are nitpicks for the most part. Like, it's not world-shattering jokes. The world-shattering stuff, if we want to get into that, is Lex Luthor builds a pocket universe in this movie. That he does not find, like, I'm using the words the movie uses. He does not find a pocket universe and find a way to, like, access it, as in these dimensions and universes exist and he opens a portal to them.
Yeah.
They use the terminology, he builds a pocket universe, meaning he designed it.
They said he created a
Lex
Big
Luthor
Bang.
in this movie is a god. He says the words, I created a Big Bang. Or I replicated the Big Bang.
And created life.
And he literally creates a form of life.
And he said something interesting. He said it was between two
dimensions or two
or
universes.
something.
Yeah.
And I was like, so what's the other
Right,
universe because you're
so-
only using it to come in and out of this.
That's what
one.
I'm saying is
that's interesting. Like,
would've-
where is it going? Where does it?
It
connect
would have
to?
made way more sense if he just found out how to use an existing
Right,
plane.
Yeah, normally you would just access.
But they don't do that.
No.
Again, this is one of those like world-breaking things where they specify he created the pocket universe.
yeah,
Not, there's worlds, there's Earth 1 and Earth 2, and there's worlds between worlds, and I found out how to access one.
so you're like that conflicts with what he was trying to do in Brave. Yeah.
Well, no, so they explained that after I brought that up, because I brought that up in the movie, and they actually
Yeah.
explained that. That made more sense. But what it does is it's just makes you go, what? Like, okay. Yeah, Lex Luthor wants to be richer. Lex Luthor wants to kill Superman. He wants to do all this stuff. But, first of all, two things. He creates a pocket universe, and inside this pocket universe, actually three things. Inside the pocket universe, he has an army of slave monkeys that he gets to rage bait people online about like hating Superman, which is again kind of a funny gag, but also he's a super genius. If you want to do that in real, like people do that in real life, and you can do it with like 5 or 6 good coders.
Yeah.
Like you just have guys write a code and then they
Yeah,
manage
just
their
script
code,
that runs
and
that
and it
stuff
does a
automatically.
bunch. Yeah, you don't need. He has hundreds of these monkeys, each typing different sentences.
They have he created different like a bunch of computers for them with keyboards.
It's so like
It's so over the top.
It's a throwaway thing, pretty much, and they do it as a gag later at the end of the movie because Crypto's chasing. He's playing with some of the monkeys or whatever. It's like it's just a thing they do. But so I said there was 3 things. The other thing that they do that I was like, what are we doing? Is the way Lex Luthor gets Ultraman to beat Superman in most of the fights is he is preloading and he's controlling Ultraman, what he does and the moves he makes, and he's preloading them because they explain that Lex Luthor has watched every fight that Superman's ever had that he could record, and so he knows the moves before he's going to make them, so he preloads the moves that Ultraman's going to make to beat Superman, which is a cool idea, and I liked that a lot. The issue that I noticed with it was he has a fleet of people helping them do this, and he's giving out verbal instructions. And again, this movie is essentially set probably 100 years in the future. It's not. It's supposed to be around our time, but the technology they have is very even Lex. Like obviously,
but he's still giving out voice commands,
right to people
who then have to then
input
hear that,
them,
process that, and then
they
push
have
a
to
button.
analog put these directives in after they are told verbally what they are. So I'm getting there. I'm building to this. Some of the tech, like obviously Superman's tech is way advanced, but some of the tech Lex has is basically magic. Again, he created a pocket universe with tech, not any powers or magic. He figured out a science way to do it. And he has, what are there, 15 people in that little room that they're in?
Yeah, at least.
And they're all at different computers, and he's like, they never really explain how it works. There's guys that are like controlling the moves, but there's another set of guys behind them that have to input them into the computer so that they're able to use those moves or something. It's really weird how they do it. But either way, it goes through like 4 people. Like Lex calls out a move, and then like 4 people have to do a thing to make it happen.
Yeah.
Because essentially what it seemed like is like one dude was controlling like the flight, one dude was controlling the punches, one dude was controlling the kicks, and like they kind of put it like that, right? Like each person was inputting something different is what it seemed like. But again, it's like the tech that they have in this, why would Lex, first of all, they kind of do the thing where it's like one of the guys is like, the stuff we're doing is wrong, I'm going to rebel, but then he never actually does, so it's kind of pointless anyways. And then, they use that guy for a joke too, actually. He goes like, oh, this is the computer to enter, he tells Mr. Terrific, this is the computer to enter the code, I can help you. And then Terrific literally shoves him and says, I don't need your help. And it was like, oh, haha, funny. But usually those characters have like, there's the guy in the squad that knows too much, and so he ends up turning on the evil guy to help the good guy in the last second to save people or whatever. Yeah,
I was trying to figure out if that guy was a producer or something random, because like
he got a lot of FaceTime.
He had a bunch of like weird like fake facial hair that was way over the top.
He
that
had
was was very like Flight of the Conchorors, like what's his face, could have put in that role. But I was like, what's his deal? And they didn't really actually do anything with it. So I was like, okay, what is that?
There was 2 characters that were kind of like that, where they end up not using them.
Goofy looking,
in
funny accent.
Yeah, they don't end up not using them in the way that like is traditional or whatever, and then kind of wastes them. Like it's like, so why did you have them there in the first place? The one was the when all the reporters are getting in the T-Sphere jet thing at the end, Perry White just says like, you and you are going with me, and all of like, there's 6 of them. And 5 of them have all been introduced. But one of the guys he grabs is just a dude that's in this scene. Yep. Like, he's been in the background or whatever, but he doesn't have a line. They don't say his name until that point in the film. And they use it again as a joke because they get on the jet. Lois tells them there's 6 seats. They get on the jet and there's 5 seats. So the one guy, Steve, doesn't get a seat, and that's the joke. Yeah. But they do it, like, the way that they do it is they just add another random reporter to this group. Instead of making it a 4-seater and having the 5 characters who you've already introduced, it was so weird. So they do it multiple times because the dude who like you think is going to betray Lex, and because he's like, once stuff gets real serious in the 3rd act, he's like, Lex, this is too far. It's too far. Da da da. Like, I'm going to turn it off, and Lex yells at him and tells him not to, but then he never does. And where was I going with this? Oh yeah, but why in the first place would Lex want 15 people knowing all this stuff? Like, that's a super liability, and it ends up biting him because he invites his girlfriend into all of the top secret meetings for some reason, who he knows is an idiot, and she ends up leaking pivotal information.
That's very much like the Christopher Reeve too, because like, it is the same. It's the same Tessmacher lady. Yeah, and she's just hanging out like she's just the eye candy, like that's on his arm. But then as soon as he gets mad, like he sends her away. And
and she betrays or whatever,
and then she betrays him. So it's like that's also there's from that as well. But it's like you're like, what is she doing there?
But like that, you can write that in a way that makes sense because, like you said, the eye candy, and then she's also there for all the press stuff, so it looks like, oh, Lex is in a serious relationship. You know, they can do all that. Good PR. But there's legitimately 15 people in this room, and like, if any of them was like, oh, hey, FBI or CIA or Rick Flag or whoever, by the way, Lex is doing this. It's like, I just don't understand. Why wouldn't it be a computer that Lex can either voice control or control himself, or he has like one other person control? You know what I mean? Like, he has a guy, like he has the engineer and the Ultraman. Those are his like right and left hand men, whatever. And like, but then he just has 15 other unnamed people in the movie just doing stuff. And the one dude, the like head honcho guy that's giving everybody else orders when Lex isn't there, is like very excited about it and like happy that they're beating Superman. And it's like, first of all,
what do these people have against
Superman? When I said like the movie makes you stretch out your suspension of disbelief, that's what I'm talking about. And like, it's already hard to work your head around, at least for me usually, like, why does Lex hate Superman so much? You know, like, and the stories usually make it, you know, acceptable, and there's an understanding about it, but like, we get nothing on why these people are helping Lex, aside from that he's probably paying them lots and lots of money. But again, that they don't act like people who are doing a job. Several of them are like they're high-fiving each other after they beat like they break his ribs and he has to go like heal in the Fortress of Solitude and all this, and they're like high-fiving and celebrating like, we did it, gang, da da da, and like genuinely thrilled that Superman is losing. I'm like, do you not live in this world? All of you have acknowledged many times that he saved everybody. Like, they make a point to bring that up throughout the film.
Really believe.
Yeah, and his
what he's dishing out, basically.
But like, they don't give us.
We're
anything.
Doing a good thing.
Yeah, character-wise, they don't give any reasoning behind. Like, it's not like Lex has tricked them, or like they know Lex's Lex's plan is that he gets this video footage and he deceives the whole world by editing it a little bit, or like. Not he was gonna, but
he didn't have to.
Yeah, he translates it and it ends up being something. Anyways, we don't have to get into all of it, but it's not like he uses that
the Viltrumite manifesto,
right? But it's not like he uses that to also trick people to help him. That are his workers. Like, no, they know that he's doing all this and manipulating all this stuff behind the scenes. He tells all of these people all of the information,
they're involved.
And it's never explained. Why did he have 15 people doing a job that one computer? Why did he have hundreds of monkeys doing a job that 5 guys could do? Why, like, all this stuff that it's just like,
have an AI.
It's literally for either a throwaway joke or like a one scene, one line thing to write. Like, it's never used in any meaningful way.
I'm not sure on that one.
Because again, like I'm kind of pulling off of previous iterations or whatever. Like in the animated series, it's always like Lex and his right hand man or whatever,
Right.
or like he'll hire Metallo, or he'll hire
Or
whatever,
somebody under duress.
Yeah, and like
generally.
or he'll trick one person.
I
or
have
whatever.
your daughter. You have to work for
But
me
like
as a scientist or something.
never is Lex portrayed as like trusting other individuals to man. Because again, the setup relies on all of these people. If 3 of them just decided to walk out, then Lex is screwed.
Yeah.
Right off the bat. Like it is shown that each person at their station is pretty pivotal.
Yeah.
And it was like, that just seems dumb. Like if any, like, oh no, so and so's sick or whatever, or like somebody
Right,
else
yeah.
kidnaps
Yeah,
one of
you're
their
out sick
kids
or
or
something.
whatever. Like if any of those, if 2 or more of them are missing for whatever reason, his entire plan falls apart. And again, most of what they do could be automated very easily. And he's a multi-gajillionaire in the movie.
Yeah, at this point, you would think all of that was like something he could just run from a
Yeah, they
seat
have
or whatever.
they have like flying saucers and like all kinds of crazy tech.
I did think of one reason why that could be another bit that they were doing with Beck Bennett, the other reporter,
Yeah.
is that he is so low on the totem pole that even a unnamed, like seemingly unnamed reporter is higher than him, like gets a seat and he doesn't.
That's true.
In
Yeah.
the thing, that could be another like jab at him.
Again, it's
But
probably that.
we don't know that, so it's just like that's kind of a stretch.
Yeah, and again, even
was-
it might be for that, but one, it's not super clearly conveyed,
No,
and
it's
2, it's not really. It doesn't really do anything. Like even if that was the joke.
And
First
you're
of all,
hitting him
it
while
didn't
he's
hit.
down. Like he's already made out to be like a jerk at the beginning, and then kind
Kinda,
of
yeah.
bumbling, and then he's like, oh, he's worried about his
Which-
cat when everything's going, the world is about to
Yeah.
end, and you're like, oh, he's supposed to be a wuss or something. I guess that's what they're trying to say, but it's like,
That was another thing. They
but you're
didn't-
like, okay, but we're hitting somebody while they're down. Like we've already made him out to be stupid. It's like, what are we getting?
Well,
out
he
of
is
this?
the office punching bag and all
Yeah,
of this stuff.
for sure,
But
but-
he, they also didn't do a super great job of portraying him as like a bully. Like they don't make
No,
him nice.
no,
like
like-
his lines are goofy. They're not like he never is like mean to Clark in like he's not nice to him, but he's not like
he was just that
bullying him.
opening scene basically
Yeah.
where he's like ribbing him at the beginning.
Yeah, and it's like-
calling him names.
Yeah, he just like calls him a few names, but he never like bullies
Yeah,
him.
yeah. We didn't get the full.
Yeah, it was just kind of weird. It was like that was kind of a weak bully. Like he's supposed to be like the office bully, and he's mean to Clark, and he's picks on him or whatever because he doesn't know he's Superman, and he's in all there. Whether it's that character or depending on if it's an animated series, it's the same character, or some of the previous movies. I think they changed his name a few times, but there's pretty much always that character where he's like the mean guy.
Right.
And he's like, he's not nice, but they don't show him to be like ultra bully. And then they do the joke of like, he's got a cat and he cares about that more than anything in the world. And then like he's crying, and like they do the he's actually a wuss thing like 3 times, but they only do he's like a manly bully macho man barely once.
Right.
And then they try to get the he's a wuss like joke or whatever out of it like 3 or 4 times. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't believe, like, I didn't know, I wasn't convinced he was a macho man in the first place, so I don't even think the first he's actually a wuss joke is that funny. And then they do it 3 more times,
Yeah.
and
All
it's like,
you get is like, oh, he's the annoying person in the
yeah,
office or something.
he's more annoying, and everybody disregards him up front. Like,
yeah, that's not the bully
he's
at
not
all.
intimidating at all. He doesn't hold any position of power. Like, it's seemingly Lois, Clark, and Jimmy are all over him, or
Yeah,
at
they
least
just
equal.
ignore him.
And they just like, they disregard him. It's no big deal,
Mm-hmm.
and they already think of him as a joke. And then you go like, oh, by the way, this guy's the butt of the joke. And it's like, yeah, they already thought that. The characters thought that, so I kind of did too.
Yeah.
And now it's just kind of seems like you're beating a guy while he's down.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's not
that's what
as
I got.
funny
I was like,
as like if he had like shoved Clark, even like the shoulder walk by shove, or like knocked him, like spilled coffee on him, or like
Right.
something to indicate like, hey, he is intentionally
need one of
mean,
those.
out of the way mean to Clark, in like not just like I said kind of an offensive thing way. I don't know. There just wasn't enough there. I barely noticed he was in it,
Yeah.
and then they do the like
maybe that was
haha,
the
he's a
progressive
wuss.
side of it, where they were trying not to go too far into that.
Yeah, but you want your bad guys to be bad, or not
Yeah.
that he's a bad guy, but you want the payoffs to work. Like if there's a
There to be
bully,
friction at the office.
yeah, if there's a bully that gets beat at the end of the movie, like if you want, what's his name, Johnny from Karate Kid. Why can't I remember his last name? But anyways, the bad guy and the mean kid,
Ralph Macchio.
yeah, the actual bad guy.
The bully.
Yeah.
Ray. No. Michael something.
No, Johnny. His name's Johnny Lawrence. Johnny Lawrence in the first Karate Kid.
Yeah. The actor.
If you want Johnny Lawrence getting beat by Daniel-san to be a good payoff, then you have to make Johnny Lawrence seem and act and be kind of a bully and a jerk. And if they were like, oh, he said like a couple mean things to Daniel once or twice, and then he beats him the way he beats him, it wouldn't be that great of a payoff. Like the reason that it's a good payoff is because you kind of don't like Johnny by the end of the movie. You're like, oh, he's like his teammates try to play dirty, and he like has beat him up a couple times, and like they make him seem like not a good guy because he's kind of not, and then the payoff's worth it. But then this dude, they're just like, he said a kind of a mean thing to Clark that was barely noticeable. Not that it was barely noticeable, but I barely noticed it, and it was so unrememberable that by the time that the joke-in portion of it, or the payoff rolled around, I was like, oh yeah, this guy's in the movie. Like, forgot about that.
Yeah.
I didn't want him to have a comeuppance because I didn't have any stake in it. Or not that I didn't want him to, but like, it didn't matter to me that he didn't get a seat on the jet.
And you could totally, like you said, just like have an interaction at the beginning where he bumps into him or does like intentionally sabotages something at his desk.
Do the old,
and then have Superman save his cat near the end and be like, "Oh, okay,
and he's crying
my
about
bad,
it.
dude."
Or he's crying about it, and he's like, "My cat," and that's funny.
And it's like that would be like, okay, yeah, he made it. He took the high road.
He is not noticeably bigger.
Dealt with that relationship.
First of all, he's not noticeably bigger than Clark at all. I think he's actually a little smaller.
He's pretty small, yeah.
And so that right off the bat is like, okay, typically smaller guys don't bully bigger guys. And Clark is like, they try to do the whole he wears loose clothes, but he's noticeably larger, just like height-wise alone. Height and shoulders, he's bigger than this dude. And then second of all, like the easiest thing you do is you have him be a little bit bigger, and then you have him do the old dunks his tie in his coffee.
Yeah.
Just as simple as that. Like, oh, hey, Clark, da-da-da. And then he grabs his tie and puts it in his coffee right before he has to go see Perry. Or something.
It's always something like that.
It's just enough to be like, oh, that guy is a jerk.
Yeah.
And, like, it's an action. It's not just, like, he kind of picks... I don't even remember what does he say to him in the beginning?
He called him... He called him an idiot or something or he's like, hey, idiot, as he walked in, and he was like, hey, Steve, like instead of using his name, and then he's like following while he's on the phone with his mom and like trying to say stuff so his mom would hear.
Yeah,
like,
but
a
it's
bunch
like
of stuff.
I
But
don't
it was
even
like,
remember. That's what I'm saying. Is like the lines. I don't even remember. They weren't memorable enough to be like, oh wow, he was being a jerk. It seemed like he was just kind of messing with him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like you got to have him do an action that's like he trips him. And that's why Clark stumbles and drops all of his papers and messes it up before he goes into Perry's office and his papers are out of order.
Or like he says, "Oh, I have the article in his hand," and then he trips him, it spills, he grabs it, and then Perry comes up and he's like, "Hey, I have the thing for you," and takes the credit for it or something.
Or he does there's a billion different ways you could do it. You could do the like, "Hey, Clark, I printed off the thing for you," and he just printed off the cover sheet and the rest of the sheets are blank. Mm-hmm. And he gives it to him and he goes into Perry's office and now Clark looks like an idiot. Or like there's a billion things you could do, but they're all action based. But they all make whatever payoff you do at the end that much better. It's just like, oh, this guy was kind of annoying to Clark and everyone blew him off anyways.
Yeah.
Like nobody was like, oh wow, so sorry that happened to you, Clark. Mm-mm. It was just like everybody's like, yeah, Steve, whatever, go away.
Yeah.
Like this is not the payoff you think it is, guys. Like you have to make me not like him aggressively.
Yeah.
Like Eve. They did a pretty good job of that with Eve. They make her kind of unbearable. They give her the high-pitched, like, fraying voice, and then she screams every time she sees Jimmy, and she's, like, the annoying, like, it girl, right? And she was annoying. Like, Lane and I were talking about it on the way home. We were like, I don't know if I didn't like the actress or if I didn't like the character, which means I probably thought the actress did a good job, because I didn't like they intentionally wanted me to find her annoying, and I did find her annoying.
Good, like, they did a good job. They implied, there was some kind of history where, like, something was off about this relationship.
They did that one really well.
Jimmy did not want to get back into, or even talk to her. So,
and they had a funny joke in there at the time. Like he pulls up his phone and you see in his contact, she's under his contacts as mutant toes, and then they do a callback to it later, and it was fun. Like that one was funny because it didn't subtract from the story or the characters. Like, yeah, he thinks her toes are funny, and he made that her contact in his phone.
Yeah.
And then there's kind of a payoff for it at the end of the movie, and it was like, oh, okay, yeah, that was like, so it can be done, and they know how to do it and how to write it, but sometimes they just don't do that, and it's like, what are we doing here, y'all? So, but I don't know. I would say, I mean, we kind of been railing on it for a minute, but again, we're nitpicking a little bit.
Yeah,
but like
we're calling out little things
the good
that could
stuff,
be improved. But
the flying looked way better than it did in the trailers, so I don't know what they changed different. But there's that one trailer where the flying looked a little rough, and all except for, like we said, maybe those 2, maybe 3 scenes where the CGI was very noticeable. Or not even very like the brick thing might not have even been that noticeable, but it was to me.
yeah, I didn't see it.
Okay, yeah, so I just noticed because it was probably like the second or third time he had gotten thrown into the ground, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But no, like there's 3 or 4 times where it was like somewhat noticeable. Other than that, it looked really good. The fight scenes were really fun.
Yeah.
Mr. Terrific's was pretty well choreographed. They did the like panning shot where it's like to give the actors and the stuntmen a break, or like to get them in the right position. The camera pans to the right so that when it pans back to the left, they're all in the correct spot. So it was like, you know, a little cheating, but like it looked good.
Yeah.
And I only know that that's how they do that because I know that's how they do that. So it's not like it subtracted from anything for that. So the fight scenes were fun. Guy was a lot more tolerable than I thought they were going to make him.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to do the over-the-top annoyance thing, but he was actually fun. Hawk Girl could have not been in that movie, and it wouldn't have changed a single thing. She does one impactful thing in the whole movie, and then after that, before that and after that, it's like, who is that again? Like, why was she like? She has some lines with Guy back and forth, but like not super funny ones, not super important ones. She's just kind of there, like she's the other person in the group. There's 3 people in the group, and she's the other person, but not a lot of agency. She just is there. Ma and Pa Kent were
pretty nice.
kind of underutilized.
Right.
They did more with Pa than they did with Ma. Ma was, first of all, that actress was something. I don't know. I didn't believe that she was. And again, I'm a big Smallville fan, and that's like one of the better Martha. Like,
She didn't have as much warmth. She was just kind of a Southern lady.
yes, exactly. There was no. That's good.
There was a
that
couple of
actually,
moments
I didn't even think of that. That's what it
where
was.
she
It was
said some
warmth.
stuff that was nice, but it like it didn't like there's always that like mother character who's like and she's confident in it. And
Yeah.
it's like, she didn't.
Well, like even in the
She wasn't
Snyder
necessarily
ones,
that.
like that Martha's pretty good. I liked her.
Yeah.
And she's a good actress, and she did well. But yeah, there's just something kind of lacking in this Martha, or Ma. They don't call her Martha. They just call her Ma and Pa, or them, Ma and Pa. But yeah, there's just something that wasn't as good as most Ma Kents. And I mean, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, they were kind of just playing off of her accent.
Yeah,
saying
they were
funny
just like,
stuff.
oh, she's a Southern lady. Or
And she
whatever.
was like really
Midwest.
dismissive of like her Pa getting like emotional. She kept being like, mush.
Yeah.
All right. And it's like, and I've seen that used,
But it was almost more
correctly in,
jabby than it
in,
was,
Little
like-
Women and stuff. But like,
It was more jabby than it was like lighthearted fun.
I know, it wasn't as friendly seeming.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It was almost like she was sick of him being emotional, as opposed to being like,
Yeah.
"Here we go again." It was like, ugh,
Because
this
we don't
again.
get to see a podcast very often, so like
No.
this is kind of cool.
Yeah, and they
That
didn't.
he
They
gets to
still,
actually relate and like talk to him about
they
stuff.
still didn't do much with him.
No.
And also, that was one thing that was weird about Clark is like, for most of the movie, he kind of blows them off,
yeah.
and they try to do a payoff with it at the end, where it's like, they want you to think that like he doesn't think of them as his like actual parents still.
Yeah. I
And
guess.
then at the end of the movie, he does, and I'm like, yeah, I don't believe that he's been in these
Yeah.
situations he's Superman for 3 years, he's an adult, he's been doing all this stuff, and he hasn't learned this lesson yet. Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, that's a super early, that's like a teenage Clark thing of like, you're not my real dad, and then by the end of the episode, it's like, oh, you are my real dad.
Yeah.
But like, they tried to fit that into this movie also, and so he like, at one point, he pulls out his phone and he has 22 missed calls from his parents, and I was like, yeah, I don't ever like it. The Clark Kent I like to think of wouldn't blow his parents off for 22 calls. Like, no matter how busy Superman got, his parents are important to him.
Yeah.
And they do the whole thing where it's like, well, he doesn't think of them as like his parents until the end of the movie. It's like, yeah, but he's also like super nice the whole movie. That's like his big thing, is he's a really nice guy. So whether or not they were his parents, I don't see Clark blowing off a stranger 22 times. You know what I mean?
No. Also, speaking of parents, we saw Rex Mason and Sapphire Stag and Joey, which was interesting. What'd you think of Metamorpho?
Yeah, that was fun. I think I would have been a little more invested. Not that I wasn't invested, because the Joey stuff, baby in danger, save the baby. But it at the point at which he came into the movie, there was already a lot of characters.
Yeah.
And so it was like, and he was introduced as just like another one. So
he was definitely used as like the door superhero type of thing, and where it's like he was supposed to be useful.
But also
for one thing,
he's introduced as like, if he had just been in the scene he was introduced in and then not in another one, that would have made just as much sense as the scenes he was in, which ended up being quite a few.
Yeah.
But like, it wasn't, again, because there were so many characters in the movie, it was just like, here's another one. And not that you have to feel this at the introduction, but like, I didn't know to think of him as like, oh, like he's going to be pretty pivotal later on.
Right.
It was just like, here's another one. At the time, like, there was no emphasis on him being in the movie.
Well, I was honestly expecting to see a lot more heroes, or not heroes, but like characters in the confinement there in the Pocket Universe. That was like that's usually a ripe spot to like put a bunch of cameos in, and I couldn't. It was hard to see, so maybe they did, but I just couldn't tell. But I didn't really see too much in there. And then, but yeah, he was brought in to do one thing, and then he kind of ended up becoming a little bit more like useful in different areas later on, which was kind of cool, and like became part of some things that he maybe wasn't planning to do at the beginning, when he or Lex were like signing each other up for what they were doing, because he realized, oh, I don't want to be a part of this. Like I thought, like once he saw that guy just get shot in front of him, that kind of, he's like, no, and even then, like, I mean, he should have already been like that, I would think, because they were holding his kid to make him do this anyway. So I was like, wait, so what are the motivations here? Is it that he's under duress, or is he doing it of his own will? And now that he's like, oh, I don't actually want to be a part to just straight up murder. I thought we were just interrogating this guy and holding him there for a second. Like, you didn't tell me everything. So I don't know exactly, but yeah, he ends up being pretty cool for now, and kind of just worried about the state of things going on, and just like, hey, I feel like we need to do something. And he ends up helping with the conflict in Jaranpur at the end, and being like, hey, this is kind of fun. You guys are cool. Mm-hmm. And that was fun. And I like Anthony Carrigan. So
I didn't even recognize that's who it was.
I'm glad he got to do it. Yeah, you could see in like one of the mannerisms where he like turned his head a little bit and like leaned in the thing. And the way he said the line right then, I was like, okay, that's a little bit Anthony right there. I heard that.
If I had known,
but he is hard to tell. But it was like under all that, for sure. He was under a lot of prosthetics. But yeah, and it was an interesting. I was like, I know that he can create all kinds of elements, but I was like, the only one I was like unsure about was the rocket engine when he was going.
Yeah,
away
when he
from
was like flying, I was like, what?
I was like, how does that work with science stuff? Like, you just make a jet engine that comes out of one direction.
Him floating with the gases, I was like, yeah, you can make gas. That adds
exactly.
up. But then
like,
the jet.
The jet engine, I was like, I don't know what that.
What science? What molecules are those?
What is that?
And how much can he burn?
Yeah. It didn't look like it was going anywhere, really. It wasn't tapering him down. Or like, so
yeah, that was a weird one.
I don't know about that one. But,
and that's another thing.
But
where
the rest of it was cool.
They did it that way, and it was super unnecessary. They could have just had Crypto go, and that's how Clark gets out of the situation. Because he like calls Crypto to save him, and Crypto goofs around and doesn't save him. He ends up having to save Crypto, and Metamorpho helps him. I was like,
yeah.
But it kind of didn't make sense how it happened, and if they had just had Crypto save him, it would have made sense and worked.
Yeah.
So I was like, why'd you do it the way you did? You could have just done, like, the same as the Mr. Terrific Lois thing. Is like, just have Lois say that line, it would have made sense. Just have Crypto save him. It would have made, like, they do that a few times where it's like, you took like 3 steps and you only needed to take 1.
Yeah, it's added extra stuff too.
Yeah.
And then I like the hammer that he made, because that I've seen that on a cover. I've seen not that, but like the like Metamorpho having like a claw hammer, basically like one of his hands is turned into like an iron hammer, and he's like swinging it at somebody in a fight or whatever. And I was like, so yeah, that's like from the comics. That's fun, yeah. The little reference. But and he's not necessarily a good guy all the time, but he's not always a bad guy either.
No, yeah.
He's a useful.
It was, I mean,
He's a useful character for sure.
as a
to have
character in the
around.
movie, I thought it was fun and fine.
Yeah.
It just, there was a couple things where it was like, I don't know why you did that the way you did it when you didn't need to. Like, the introduction of him made sense. But
Yeah.
almost, and then the end fight scene made sense.
Yeah. I could see that. I liked him. I liked him for sure.
Yeah.
There's also, we had an appearance at the end. That's kind of sets up another movie coming out
Oh,
next year.
yeah. See, I forgot about it.
Yeah. So we had Kara show up to get her dog, because they didn't mention that he was he had like it was a foster situation where he's just watching, and that was kind of funny too. We were thinking about it, about how like, oh, I'm worried. I'm just worried about finding the dog because of what my cousin will do if I'm taking care of her dog, and if I lose him or something happens to him, you guys are in trouble. Like, she will go crazy, or not go crazy, but she will be very upset with, and might lash out as a teenager, on the world there. So when he shows up at the office and he's like, "Where's the dog?" He's kind of just like, "I'm very concerned because, yeah, don't do anything to the dog. It's not mine." But yeah, that's kind of funny. But he also, you can see kind of, he is a empathetic and heartfelt guy. Like he does care. You see him worried about the animals and what they might be going through, like with the squirrel he saves, and how he talks about Crypto being alone and scared. So that's kind of a fun aspect. He is still very much a Boy Scout from that side of things. And then there are a couple of in tags, or there's like a mid credits and an in tag that don't affect anything story wise. They're just kind of there for fun, and because Gunn comes from the Marvel side of things, so he wanted to do that. I guess that's going to be a thing. So they're going to continue that.
Yeah.
With DC stuff maybe, but yeah, he there's kind of just like a comic book cover recreation that's fun, and then there's like a scene where he and Terrific are kind of like getting on each other's nerves a little bit by being sticklers, but they don't affect too much. But the Supergirl showing up, like, that is supposed to tie and be like, hey, this is a film that's coming out next year. So I don't know if that's the next film. I guess maybe that's the next film, because they do have a Lobo film in the works. And then they've got the Lantern series coming out, which I don't know actually if that's still next year or if it's a following year. But I guess we want to give ratings.
Yeah, we could do a little rating thing.
Yeah, I think for me, like, it's pretty solid. I was thinking like a 7.5, 7.6.
Oh, wow,
somewhere
okay.
is where I'm at with that. Which that I kind of have. I have a range of that for films. Like, it going up into 8s and 9s. That's a whole other thing. So 7 is kind of like, I like the film, and yeah, I would recommend it, I think. What would you think?
I think that's a little high for me personally, but I basically agree. I think our ratings are just a little bit different. I would say the plus side of 6.5.
Okay.
So above, like, average plus. As in, like, it's not great, and I don't think I'd ever tell anyone that they have to see it. But it's not bad. It was fun. It was super enjoyable. The action was good. There was a little bit of humor. The character stuff, for the most part, was super strong. The plot gets a little bit wonky, and some of the plot devices bring down the movie overall for me.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they could have gotten the results they wanted through a less complex way. And not that complexity is bad, but, like, it was unnecessarily complex.
Yeah.
And it was like, you could have gotten the results you wanted, and
Too many extra steps.
yeah, just too many extra steps. And it wasn't like, it was well paced for the most part. There was not a lot of lulls or anything.
Yeah.
But because usually lulls are what pull you out of a movie or like make you realize you're watching a movie. But instead of the lulls, I feel like they added the unnecessary steps, which kind of has the same effect, at least to me. I was like, oh yeah, I noticed that I'm watching a thing.
Right.
So I would say, like I said, plus side of 6.5 with room to grow.
Right.
I only watched it once. I would watch it again. So that says something, at least for modern superhero movies, because the last few I've seen, I was like, no, that was enough. Like,
No, yeah, I think that's a tell right there.
yeah, like, for instance, just the top of my head, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, I will never watch again, and I fell asleep in that movie. But I have no desire to, like, that's not a rewatch for me.
Yeah.
So not that that's even close to Superman, but just, like, to give a idea of, like, I would watch it again, and I would recommend it to people. Like, I told my buddy, he was like, I think I'm gonna go see it, but I've heard this, I've heard that, I've heard this, I've heard that. I was like, no, like, it's worth watching, and, like, see it in theaters. If you want to see it in theaters. That was fun.
Quantumania.
Yeah, Quantumania. No, definitely not Quantumania. Save your time.
Yeah.
Save yourself from that movie. But
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
Superman was
I've
super
recommended
worth watching, which is about the highest praise you can give a movie
It's a
nowadays.
good time. The Lois, Rachel Brosnahan, is. I know she's a
great.
very competent actor because I watched Mrs. Maisel before this, and yeah, I had every confidence in her, and she was very, very effective, and she fit the role very well. So I think she was a good choice. It was a very good choice.
Yeah, she did great, and like
Jimmy, like Skylar Gisondo, like he was pretty solid.
I'm not gonna lie, he was one that I was a little bit worried about. I like him as an
Yeah, you
actor,
were saying that.
but like I had heard, that was one thing that I had seen, was there was an interview with him where he was talking about how he was praising James Gunn in his directing because he said he was getting a little bit. The actor said he was getting a little bit of anxiety about being Jimmy Olsen, and he was like overstudy. Like he saw how much there was to study, like there could be to study, because he was like, I started getting comics. He's like, I got a little overwhelmed, and James Gunn told him like, hey, you are Jimmy Olsen, so whatever you do is what Jimmy Olsen would do.
Yeah.
And so he was like, so I just didn't study at all. And I was like, oh no, like that can be very bad.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. Like, he did a really good job. I liked him
Yeah,
as
he
Jimmy.
did fine.
I liked him a lot. But, and then Lois was great. That's an easy character to go like full girl boss mode and make, like, you know, I don't know what the right term would be, but just like annoying, right? Like that's a lot of directors or writers or whatever can misplace like competency for arrogance, if that makes sense, where it's like, oh, she can do it herself, and it's like, well, yeah, she can do it herself, but you don't have to be a jerk about it. Like, and she wasn't. Like, she held her own, but she wasn't like,
she knew what she was talking about. She knew what she was capable of.
she knew what she was doing, but
yeah.
she never like had to put anybody else in their place, and like,
Yeah.
she never had to shoot anyone down to raise herself up. Like, she just was, she was competent all on her own. And it was like, yeah, that was cool. And like, when she needed help, she accepted help. And when she didn't need help, she did it herself. And it was like, yeah. And the actress did a great job. Like, I don't know.
But yeah, those two reporters were fine. And then the other two reporters, Kat and Steve,
We're barely
did
in it.
nothing.
Yeah, they did
So
absolutely
like,
nothing.
I'm sure they do something at their job, but we didn't see it. So that we have nothing to really rate them on, basically. And Yeah, I think I mean Perry White. I like that guy for sure. He's in
Yeah.
Suits. He's in a lot of stuff.
He did really
He's
well.
solid. He didn't get too much either, really. He got to do his
No.
little like don't call me
Don't call
that
me
or whatever, and then okay, you can call me Perry like bit, but that was about it. And then he seemed in charge though. I mean, what he was doing, except for at the end. And then yeah, they got it done in the end. Definitely, yeah. Superman was like knocked about a lot throughout the film, so he wasn't just some like beacon of strength the whole time. Like he made it. He had to fight to get to where he was each time, and he righted the wrongs, by the end. So yeah, I think it was a pretty fun.
There wasn't
pretty fun
necessarily,
ride.
or maybe there was, and I just thought about it in the wrong way a little bit. But I did notice it didn't come across super strong that there was like a super character second act low point. There definitely was a second act low point for Clark, but it wasn't like
It was him in the Pocket Universe, right?
yeah, and then like going to his parents' house and his having
Yeah.
a talk with Pa and da da da.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a lot of times they'll do that where it's like because he made a mistake and he's like down on himself or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Or again to reference like Spider-Man 2. Like
Well,
Pe-
I mean,
Peter-
leading into that, I guess you could say like he got the information leaked or he found out that his parents had other
Yeah,
ideas
but
for him.
he didn't
so that
do
was
anything
he was
wrong.
kind of down on himself, and his pa had to talk.
Yeah,
to him
but
about
like what I'm saying is like a lot of times it's the character's fault and they have to like come back from a mistake they made. And he
Right.
he didn't really do anything
No.
wrong the whole movie necessarily.
No.
Like they kind of the war thing they're like insinuate though it's like you might not have made the right choice just by getting involved, but it's not like he chose the wrong side because like that's a thing that's a route they could have gone easily is like he got duped and chose the wrong side in the war and now he's down and like he doesn't trust his judgment anymore.
Which I wonder if people will make parallels between like the Ukraine Russia thing.
Oh, for sure.
Based like I
For
wonder if that's
sure.
really what
That's all
talking
that was.
about.
Yeah, it was for
like,
sure.
we shouldn't have been involved
or any
yeah,
of the other
but-
wars that are going on.
Right.
Um,
Many different ones, but yeah.
yeah, no, that was one thing that I noticed though, and I was like, oh, that's kind of refreshing almost, because like that trope, if you will, or whatever that's called, can get overused pretty quickly.
Yeah, okay.
Of like, oh yeah, he messed up and now he's down on himself, but it's like I was a little worried they might do that, but Superman's not really a
Yeah.
character that gets down on
He's
himself.
gonna go away for months and be sad
Right.
until he gets his arc. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was
his
like
Batman
3.
Batman 3, yeah.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight Returns.
No, they do that a lot. Sorry, I just realized I was quiet again.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, so that was refreshing. Yeah, that's how I would describe it. It was fun, exciting, and refreshing
Nice.
with flaws
Yeah.
while being flawed, and that's fine.
But
like
I
most
think-
movies are.
I think all of them, yeah, are gonna have things, and
I've
even
yet
some,
to-
and even some of it is just opinion, and it's like, and they had a different idea for it. So
I've
it's like,
only
that's
ever
fine.
seen 3 perfect movies, so it's a pretty hard standard to reach.
right.
And we all know what
The
3
Princess
I'm
Bride
talking
and
about.
what 2 others?
Yeah, The Princess Bride and the other 2 ones that we all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Everybody knows. There's only 3 perfect movies that everyone agrees on, Ben.
Yeah.
The entirety of the world agree on what 3 movies are perfect. We don't have to talk about
Yeah.
them.
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner, Madam Web.
I was gonna say Seven Samurai, but okay.
No, I was gonna go with Princess Bride, Madam Web, and Morbius, but you got Blade Runner before.
I had to sneak Blade Runner. I had to pitch one like right down the center, just kind of
Yeah.
like low, just lob it to you for the bunt
Yeah,
on that one. But
I still haven't seen Madam Web. Still haven't watched it. I'm going
what
to.
was the thing I found with it that was the
Re-release Morbius just in case.
yeah they were like Sony's says they're completely done with the universe.
Yeah, they're not
but,
releasing any more
and somebody
Spider-Man.
was just like, yeah, but let's just re-release Morbius just one more time, just in case.
Just in case. Re-release it one more time.
maybe we didn't fail.
Yeah, I will say
That was
this
pretty funny.
before we end. Superman, James Gunn's Superman, I should clarify, because apparently for marketing that was super important that it was James Gunn's movie, everybody. I don't know if you
Yeah.
know this. This was James Gunn's movie.
Bro, they were
a James
heavy,
Gunn film.
They were heavy-handed with that, even in the Creature Commandos. They
Yes.
had the
Dude, he's like sketched out in the intro.
He is drawn out in two different ways.
Yeah.
As part of the lineup of the Creature Commandos, like
Yes.
introductions.
He's-
As they're like character name, and James Gunn
Yeah.
is the script, like the writer, the director, the
Yeah.
creator. It's like, all right, calm down. There's other people
Dude,
that worked
he
on
is
this, dude.
super about himself getting noticed. I will say, like,
I think
there's
he's
directors
He's
that are,
very excited to be in the forefront of things now.
super
So,
excited.
I mean, good for him. Whatever.
but no, I will say what I was gonna say is
Yeah.
it's better than Morbius. So there's that.
It is. We can confidently say it.
Now I
it's gotta
cannot
be-
confirm if it's better than Madam Web because I still haven't watched it. But
I think I can take this one.
you got this one.
I haven't seen it either, but I'm going to say it is better than Madam Web.
Well, we know what we're doing tonight. Still not watching Madam Web.
Yeah, but see, I have a date with my toaster in the bathtub before that, though. So I don't know.
Before
if I'm gonna
not
make
watching
it.
Madam Web? Wait, what?
Seeing Madam Web.
No, I said we know what we're doing tonight. We're not watching that.
okay.
To continue on with our streak of never having seen it, I know what we're doing tonight. Continuing to not watch it.
Okay, that's a better joke than
Yeah.
what I was doing.
Oh man, no. And then up next will be. I'm not. We can talk about this if we need to. I'm not doing Jurassic World Rebirth. I don't need to do that movie.
Yeah, I don't really have a need. I haven't seen the last couple.
It is a
And-
skippable movie for me. So
I'm sure it's a dinosaur movie,
yeah,
but
like, dude, there
and
hasn't.
dinosaurs are great. But
There has
I
not
don't know,
been
man.
a good one for
Yeah, it's
a
been
long
a
time.
while.
The last two, the last one before this one specifically was terrible.
World was okay, and that's about where I draw the line. I was like, we don't even need World. but-
Yeah, I could have done without
but
it. It was fine.
I understand that they have to keep making films.
Oh, they make billions of dollars, so they're gonna make them forever, but they're not good.
I mean, for kids, for new kids, like wanting to
Just-
see a dinosaur movie,
Sure, but the
like-
old ones are
but they're-
still
yeah,
better.
The old ones should be what
It's
they
the
watch.
whole like remaking in live action, remaking animated into
Yeah.
live action. It's like, yeah, you can do that, but if it turns out even just as good
Yeah.
as the old one, then I'd rather watch the old one because it's probably gonna be shorter. First of all,
You know who's back as an old franchise? Did you see the animated Predator film? That was good.
Oh,
It's
really?
like even Predator can come back from a failure and make a sequel that's pretty legit.
well, wasn't their last one pretty good too? From what I heard, Prey.
Prey was, yeah. No, I was talking about the Predator,
Oh,
the soft reboot
gotcha.
that
Yeah,
they tried
yeah.
to do.
No, that was terrible.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, Prey was good.
No.
And that sequel is probably gonna be fun too. But
yeah,
we'll see.
All that to say, the next one up is probably going to be Fantastic Four,
Yeah,
which
yeah, I would say that's gonna be coming up pretty soon. Yeah.
disclaimer, I'm not super excited about that one. I just got a feeling.
Yeah,
Superman,
I'm
I
trying
really
not to
wasn't
think
sure
about
on.
that. I just want it to be good.
I want it to,
I want
be,
it to be fun.
amazing, but
So-
I have such little faith in Marvel right now. Dude,
Well, they turned a bunch of stuff off and they're resetting things. So
Yeah, but have
hopefully
they
that means
reset
they're
yet?
Actually,
has it happened yet?
it was supposed to have happened like last.
Because
year,
I've also lost a tremendous amount of faith in Pedro Pascal.
because
The
we've only
dude's
had
just
one movie this year, which is crazy.
two.
Normally we would have had 3 movies by now.
We've had two.
What?
That's how bad they are. We've had 2 movies this year.
No, we had Thunderbolts.
Yeah. And there was another one before Thunderbolts. It came out in February. They released it in a dead period. It's called Captain America 4.
Oh,
That was this year. That's how bad they've
thought
been
that was
lately,
last
dude.
year.
That's what I'm saying.
Dang.
It is forgettable. They have not been on a hot streak lately. So
Wait,
we'll
maybe
see.
I have seen something else this year then. If I saw that.
Yeah, that's the last thing I saw in theaters. I think was Captain America, and I was like, wow, bummed I spent money on that.
Yeah.
Which is why I waited to watch Thunderbolts until it came out. So, or on DVD, which is why I still haven't seen
I
it yet.
guess I did have some money earlier on in the year. Never mind. Maybe I did go to see that.
No, but yeah, I hopefully they've turned it around already, and hopefully Fantastic Four is awesome. I would love for that movie. I genuinely like Fantastic Four, so if
Sorry,
it's good,
DC fans, we're talking about Marvel stuff again. But
yeah, I mean, it's just movies, guys. It's just
yeah,
movies.
This isn't the comics.
No,
You're
it's
safe.
just it's
You're
next
safe.
it's
This-
next up on the supplemental
This is all
podcast.
the unnecessary movie stuff that gets in the way of your comics.
Right. Ugh. I don't
trying to
know.
adapt your favorite stories.
We'll talk about that another day. But no, I like the Fantastic Four. I hope it's good, but I don't have as much faith as I did for Super. Well, I didn't even necessarily have faith. I didn't have a bad feeling going into Superman. I got a bad feeling going into Fantastic Four.
I mean, I was like, it could go. I was like, I try to go in blank, but I mean, I was like, right now, I was like, Superman could go either way.
Yeah,
because like
exactly.
he could totally go way too goofy.
Yeah,
and weird with it, because like he loves to do that so much. Like he had his signature. Like,
I was about to say
he had his signature like stuff down the throat thing, and because he loves tentacle
and
stuff.
eyeballs.
And then he had the eyeball, the floating like eyeball like space thing that they were fighting.
Yeah.
that had like tentacles as well. I was like, of course,
That
he has
scene
to have
too.
a little bit of this.
That scene too. I was like,
He had
bro, why
he has
are
to
we
have the Slither stuff and the
like? You're taking away from characters with scenes like that.
yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, I get it. The joke is like, oh, it's not that big of a threat. They can handle it. But Superman would help anyways, especially if it's 20 yards away from it. Anyways, we don't have to get into
That was
that's
that
the
was
type of
just
stuff.
supposed
Like,
to be silly.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
'Cause he just-
that could have been a nice somber scene with him and Lois without the crap in the background. That's exactly what it is. It's just background crap.
Yeah.
And it's like, it detracts. If they just hadn't had that, then they would have had that goofy throwaway line of like, oh, it's just an interdimensional imp or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, again, it's just the feeling of a lot of that stuff is just what? Like, what did I just hear? What did you say? What are we doing? And it's like unnecessary. But
I guess they're trying to flesh out the world where they're like,
But-
oh, this stuff happens all the time.
but also it's like, yeah, but Superman would help.
Yeah, he would help.
He would totally, especially this Superman, like the Superman you have introduced to me in this. Like, I'm not even bringing in other Supermen to this. Like, this Superman, everything we've seen about him, like, he saves a squirrel at one point.
Yep.
He's gonna help if there's just any type of threat, whether or not it's like, oh, they handle it. It's like in the background you see like Green Lantern get smacked or whatever. It's like, yeah, like on the off chance someone could get hurt, Superman's gonna intervene. And like, yeah, it might be something they can handle, but he would show up to help if he could. And it's close. It's outside of his window. Excuse me.
And like they don't start out. He kind of seems like begrudgingly like seeing them at the first time they show up. He's like, oh no.
Yeah, because
But
they don't
then
do things the same
he
way.
knows. Yeah, exactly. They handle stuff differently. But by the end, he's like, oh, they're my friend. Or like I called in some help from a friend.
Yeah.
You know? Like he's talking about him. Like
Well,
yeah, like,
they actually did that, I thought, pretty well because of the whole Mr. Terrific saving him thing.
yeah.
Especially when it was like, they kind of insinuate like he didn't need to do it. Like
Yeah.
Lois had to kind of convince him at first, and it
Yeah,
was like,
he was like, "We'll just go check it out."
yeah, might as
and
well.
See.
It's important enough to be on my radar,
Yeah.
and I want to get away from Guy.
Yeah, and then he was like, "And I'm gonna do it to piss off guys."
Yeah. So it was like, yeah, little stuff like that's fun, but yeah,
yeah, that's good.
that one scene, I was like, why are we doing this, man? You just don't have the imp in the background, the interdimensional, because that's what they called it, right? An interdimensional imp or whatever.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what that.
I don't know what it means. I don't think you're
it
supposed
looked
to.
looked like another Starro type, like
Right.
space squid.
Yeah, and it was not like high definition at all. Like, it was pretty cheap in the background, and it was supposed to be like blurry in the back. Like, it wasn't like they didn't put a lot of effort into it necessarily, but it was just, don't do that. You don't have to do that.
Bonking it with a baseball bat.
Yeah, he's literally, Guy Gardner's hitting it with a baseball bat in the background, and it's supposed to be like, oh, hot, but it's during kind of a somber moment with like
Yeah.
him. It's like,
Yeah,
just
it's
let us be
kind of
somber,
emotional.
dude. Let it be like a solid, like, oh wow, this is an important moment. Like, I don't know.
Oh, and I think they should have switched. I think it would have meant a lot more. Maybe if they had swapped the scenes, the last two scenes with he and her, like embracing, because she hugs him there, and which makes sense because he's like, what he's saying and where he's going and everything. She's like, I might not see you for a minute because he's turning himself in. She hugs him, which is fine, but I was like, I think if he had kissed him there, that would have been fine. And then he goes. She's like, you go, like, you know,
Yeah.
I'll see you later, like, kiss. And then that final scene where they're in the mall
Just
and they're
hug.
reunited after everything that went down, that would have been more emotional as a hug. Like
Yeah.
a great, like a really, really intentional hug
Yeah.
there would have felt better than just the kiss. Which,
I agree. I
think.
thought about this, but then I was like, oh, they were
would've
trying to do the like, they're broken up in that first scene. Because
Maybe,
remember later on she was like, "Oh, he's not my boyfriend." Well, yeah, like we're just together. Well, we're not right now. And like she does a little like talking to herself to Mr. Terrific. And I was
well,
like,
because he says he loves her there, and she doesn't answer. She's
yeah.
just like,
because they kind of insinuated that, like,
lose.
are
So
they broken up
so
right
I
now?
get it, but I
Yeah.
think
I agree that if they had done it differently,
I think the hug
swap
at the
it.
end would have been really good. Like,
Agreed. If they had written it just slightly different to where that wasn't like also a breakup kind of scene, like because
they
at
had
the
to be-
moment they're kind of broken up, and then he says, like, he gives her a hug and says, like, I love you.
yeah,
Whether or not we're broken up or not is kind of the gist of what they're. So I was like, if they weren't doing like the breakup on top of that, I totally agree. Like, kiss there, then hug. But they didn't set themselves up properly for it necessarily. Like, it would have it made
but
sense how they did
it seems like it seems more natural. Like,
Agreed.
They come back together at the end and they're like, hey, we should talk.
Yeah.
And like obviously like wanting to be like. Like, hey, are you okay? And then like, yeah, let's walk over here, and then just like, into each other's arms.
Yeah, the hug would have been better for
It
that.
makes more like
It
oh
would
my
have been
gosh,
more
like so much
impactful.
relief, more of like than just like, oh, I just want to kiss you.
In those times, and especially in storytelling, like a hug shows more intimacy
Yeah.
than a kiss.
Yeah,
Because it's like, I just
the right
care about
moments.
you. Like, it's not about anything else. It's just
Yeah.
like, I'm glad you're okay.
yeah.
I just want to hold you.
glad you're alive.
Yeah.
Like, oh my,
So-
everything is okay. Yeah.
And they kind of, having Lois be one of the people that rescues him from the interdimensional portal thing,
Yeah.
kind of detracted from the next scene when they saw each other a little bit. Because if it had just been when he says, like, I love you, Lois, and then he gets kidnapped, and then she doesn't see him again until after the final battle, that's even more impactful. Which, like, I was fine with her being part of the rescue or whatever, but it does. Like,
Yeah, I
they
guess
saw
so.
each other in between those two scenes, and they don't talk. She just drops him off at his parents and leaves, and I was like, what? We're doing the breakup thing still? What's going on?
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
a little bit like back and forth. And again, I think that kind of comes from, like, doing a little too much. Like, hey, you took 3 steps when you could have taken 1, and 1 would have got you there and been efficient, and, you know. But it was good. It didn't make it anything worse. It was just like, why'd you do 3? You didn't need to do 3. You could have done 1. Sometimes 3's better, I guess, but I don't know.
True.
But yeah, so I think this is going to be about the perfect length for one of our non-full episodes. Sorry it's so short today, guys. We will come back with a real full episode soon. Not one of these short little 2-hour episodes. No. We do apologize for this.
That's on us.
That's on us. We'll do better next time, and we'll try our best to do better in the future.
Yeah. But hopefully, if you're gonna go see the movie for the first time, you enjoy it. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you already seen
Watch
the film first,
the
and
film.
then we'll just do this disclaimer at the end,
Yes.
so you'll never see it.
Well, and also
But,
for future disclaimers, like 9 times out of 10, if you see us with a movie in the title, watch the movie before you hear us talk about it. If you don't want it spoiled, we're gonna spoil everything.
We're gonna want to actually talk about it.
And we're going to jump from beginning to end to middle to beginning to end to middle, and that's how it goes. If you don't know that, just so you know in the future.
Yeah, you know, you should know at this point.
We did it twice with Wolverine, kind of.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's it.
Thank you.
You want to do our signature sign-off?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for thanks for stuff. We appreciate if you did stick around this long.
You've been entertaining. We've been nonsense.
Hopefully you learned something or didn't, or noticed something new. That I try to bring a lot of detail to stuff that the knowledge that I have about some of these things, which sometimes is a little bit more like things I can call out about the film, and you can go back and be like, oh yeah, that's cool. You know, I saw it. Now I see this, or you can even mention in the comments if there was stuff that you saw that I missed. I would love to learn about that as well. Any information is cool. I need all the pictures of Spider-Man in the comments.
Give us your high points, your low points.
Yeah. Give us your ratings in the comments as
Yes.
well. Please do. And check out the Instagram, of course. We're gonna try to be posting some of these in between the actual episodes, but potentially we'll be doing a more consistent live schedule every other week, maybe like an Instagram live and then a post on the opposite weeks.
On we
YouTube.
got our setup back, so we can make stuff again.
Yeah.
We kind of touched on that. But
I'm excited about that. This will be a continuation of that. in a way, depending on when this drops. But yeah, thanks for listening. And I'm supposed to say thanks for watching. Man, I'm already out of practice.
I mean, they're not really watching a whole lot, to be fair. There's
Yeah, but
not
this-
much to see
This
here.
is what I always do. I always say thanks for watching. That's kind of become the
That is
stupid,
kind of the thing.
unofficial
Yeah.
joke. But anyway,
darn.
But yeah,
We'll fix it in
we
post.
appreciate you sticking around, and look forward to that Fantastic Four.
Yeah. And we know some of you guys were concerned that the bees got us. That is not what happened. We just had tech issues. So
Yeah.
it was not the bees. We were told. I mean, we were. No one told us
So-
it was fine.
So we got away from the bees.
Yeah,
is what officially happened. We got away. we finally got
free.
free. It was a long fight.
We're free.
We were extradited to a country for a
We
moment.
were in a
but we're
pocket
back.
universe away from the bees.
Yeah, so we had to go through the pocket universe to get away, but we're here and we're fine.
Man, this deteriorates so fast. You were doing so good, and I just derailed it. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
and yeah.
And
We're gonna-
I'm me.
Yeah.
And I will continue to be me. He stops being Ben at the end of the podcast, but I'm going to keep being me the whole time in between. So y'all don't have to worry about that.
You guys keep being you. That's all we care about, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.